'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. 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 You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. Casting on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me. Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down.
empty town. We're searching for the lost and found. But you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare. Just stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares too. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Do you remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out. And do you see you got me falling in more times than I can get out. Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you. Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. Going with the gut, never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella loved. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging, we go and come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing little flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in. Welcome, my heart so full, I'm devoting myself to the night. There's no motive, we're just listening, we're existing.
Like a diamond from gold. Maybe you are something I cannot define. Maybe you are the fallen kind. I lay in bed with violence, the silent side of me. We see where fire starts to breathe. When I would lay in silence, the voice inside of me made me lose my mind right.
We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder.
I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Show them. Change the station with a new shit. Show them. Change the station with a new shit. Change the station. Change the station.
Hello PUBG Esports fans. PUBG Continental Series 3, our very last global PUBG Esports event for 2020, kicks off on November 5th, and like its predecessors will feature a Pick'em Challenge full of hot new rewards. This Pick'em Challenge begins on October 28th for PC, or the 29th for console players, and lasts for 3 weeks, closing on November 19th, right before the final week's match begins. During this time, you can check out real-time tournament standings, information on participating teams, and player stats in the Esports tab in-game. You can also get some information on how teams performed from regional qualifiers, and even which players to put your eyes on. So get the information you need here and increase your chance to win. As before, the challenge has 2 events, Pick the Winner and Team Face-Off. Pick the Winner lets you predict the overall winners from each region. Placing a vote here requires a voting coupon, and you may only vote for each team once. Successful predictions will earn you 100,000 EP per region, for a maximum possible 400,000 EP and bragging rights if you manage to guess them all. Voting coupons can once again be obtained by purchasing PCS3 items, up to a maximum of 14 coupons. You can also get a free coupon by watching PCS3 live streams, which we'll get into in a moment. As always, your purchases directly support our great teams, with 25% of PCS3 item profits distributed to teams across the 4 regions. Profits will be split between supplementing the overall prize pool and being distributed equally among participating teams. Show your team spirit and increase your chances to win by picking up the new PCS3 gear. Our second game is Team Face-Off, a free way for you to earn EP by picking the winner between 2 rival teams. You can make a pick for each face-off without any coupons or purchase necessary. EP prizes here are once again weighted based on how many votes each team has gotten. Voting for the underdog may be risky, but it also might just earn you up to 7,600 EP if your team claims victory. We've added a small quality of life update this time around as well, letting you see how many voting coupons you have and which teams you voted for in the event summary page. You can now also claim all your rewards at once, making life a bit easier when you win big. Want to earn your free voting coupon and some EP? Pay close attention during PCS3 live streams. If you see a code pop up, enter it in-game quickly. Doing so will earn you your 1 free voting coupon for the tournament. Easy, right? Well, as long as you're faster than everyone else. You can also add some additional EP to your wallet by watching for Twitch drops and quizzes. Twitch drops are now available on both console and Steam accounts. To participate, make sure your platform, Twitch, and PUBG accounts are all linked, and watch PCS3 on Twitch. You can get started easily by visiting accounts.pubg.com and logging in or creating your PUBG account if you haven't already. From here, you'll have easy access to link your accounts. Once linked, you can earn up to 30,000 EP just by spending time watching the PCS3 action live on twitch.tv/PUBG. Finally, just like PCS2, random quizzes will sometimes appear during the PCS3 broadcast on the PUBG Global Esports Twitch channel. Answer some questions right, and you'll get some EP. Now that you've earned a ton of EP, you can purchase your various PCS3 exclusive items from the esports shop. You can claim your earned rewards starting November 24th and can spend EP in the esports shop until December 9th. PCS3 is starting up soon, so now's a great time to do some research and plan out your strategy. All 4 PUBG regions are participating, and the more you watch, the better your odds of scoring unique skins for your own matches. We know it's been a tough year for many, but you've helped make 2020 a great year for PUBG Esports, and we're excited to close it out with our best tournament yet. PUBG Esports, PCS3, and the Pick'em Challenge. Get in on the action today.
Let's crash. I think.
Okay.
Let's crash orange.
Close entrance.
One guy here in close building in office.
Ja, I'm coming.
Pušao ti u kuću jedan dole.
Mislim su 2 dolje.
Bottom floor, možda na tebi ide, Jos.
Cars coming. Buggy. Vidiš ga desno u smoku?
Vidim.
Možda sam dead.
Okay, I'm healing them. Good nades and good on the first guy too.
Grabbing meds and stuff.
Oh, what is the guy here?
Where is he?
moguće.
Let's just clear that, I'm with you.
I'm coming. One's on the back.
Nice knock.
Do we just full push the next compound right now?
I don't think we can just run into that
One's on
compound
the
that easily.
bicycle.
The North guy's leaving, North guy's leaving.
Ist hier nicht gut oder was, wo wir jetzt sind? Na, du beginnst stuck next to Zone. Ja, dann let's go.
Ready, René?
Ja, ich fahr schon. Wart ihr zu zweit auf dem Buggy oder was?
Ja.
Ist er oben bei mir drin? Kann euch nicht mehr aimen. Er mollert die Stairs.
Er ist direkt über uns.
Ja, ja.
No way you can pick my windows? Say?
I'm getting hard peeked whenever I do that.
Okay, he's in the back room now. We can go. He's healing in the back room, in the closet. You have your own car.
Ja, außenrum.
We're probably gonna have a hard time if that's a full team. Like.
Einer an der Außenmauer, TSM.
An der Außenmauer, ich nade. Einer ist unter uns jetzt, Flash.
Knocked up top left, Alex. I'm gonna go inside.
Kannst du revive? Ich smoke, ich revive.
One shift W knocked.
Yeah, that's him. Nice.
Habt euch keine First Aids, wenn ich mal First Aid inszeniere?
Du hast keine First Aids?
Ja.
Mein letztes.
They're fighting upstairs. What?
Come up.
I'm not with you.
Go right.
On me.
Nice. Good nade.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's day number 2 here of PCS3 EU Grand Finals. As yesterday we had varied results here, there, and everywhere, but now we're back to see if we can get something solid going for our next day. My name's Kyle Loris, your host, and joining me as always is Team AFK. We've got Avenger, we've got Froz here. You've got a little horse on your shirt there, mate. Froz, how are you doing? It's going to be a good day. Yesterday, as I mentioned, obviously varied results, but it was nice to see some of the teams rise to the top.
I mean, totally varied results yesterday. I'm looking forward to today's games to see if anything is going to change. I don't think so. I think we're going to see kind of similar to what we saw yesterday. The changes will come after today, coming into the next weekend. So I want to see who's going to be grabbing up some points today, because some of the teams, we know that they need a very good start, and some of them got it so far. Some are still looking for it.
Yeah, definitely so. I think when you look at Northern Lights yesterday, Martin, they've got to be ecstatic with the start that they've had, despite not being super far ahead in terms of points, not sponging up huge amounts. Still 2 wins in this kind of lobby on day 1 is very, very nice.
Yeah, it's very good for them. Happy for them, of course. Nice to hear from Battalions as well. But it's a very linear leaderboard. Like, we're looking at a leaderboard that is basically 10 teams that can jump into the top 3. It's extremely close. We have Northern Lights here, 38 points, 1 point just behind. So Energy 3 points behind, and Northern Lights is Athletics, and 9 points behind is Omakin and Navi. Like, it's just dribbling down, and it's extremely close. And obviously, yes, we did play 4 games. That means it's gonna take some longer time to see these kind of split ups, and for the top to kind of separate them from our mid pack. But I think we're gonna have some really interesting games today as well. I know we're gonna have some really interesting games today as well. But I'm just curious to see what teams that we have on our right page right now on the right side of the leaderboard is going to be able to jump into the left side and kind of solidify themselves on the top 8.
Or if any teams want to pull an LG Divine and just get 5 wins in 7 games, that would be nice as well. That was ridiculous watching that today, but they weren't able to get the Quadra Froz. That was a little bit too much of a stretch. But beyond all of that, of course, when you look at the top names so far, we mentioned it at the end of yesterday, Froz. They're not the usual names that were like, well, we're thinking the Phases, the Team Liquids. No, Tornado Energy is the one that kind of sticks out. They had a bit of a rough patch, but yesterday it felt like Tornado Energy was being the fragging Tornado Energy that kind of made us like them at the very beginning of all of this.
Yeah, and talking about Tornado, what we usually see their kind of playstyle, if we go back to the meta that we were talking about yesterday, would be edge grouper. They would play a lot of edge, they would group together. But what we saw yesterday was that they were still playing edge. By instead of just grouping up, they were flexing a lot, they were trying to split a little bit more. And that's what gave them so much success. We saw him doing a lot of 2-2 splits, take a little bit more. And that's what gave him so much success. We saw him doing a lot of 2-2 splits, taking a lot more ground. And that's what you want to see, flexing out when it's needed, then go back and group when you need to pull out the full force against the full team and take that team fight. And that's what we saw from them yesterday, and that's why you see them having 23 kills. But on top of that, also, of course, a lot of placement points. They took every fight they could, and they knew that they had the upper hand because of that kind of playstyle they went for yesterday.
Yeah, kill leaders from yesterday. It did feel like they were doing the phase sweep style sometimes on this side of these circles, which guys like Ali are an example. We know that they're very capable of doing. And when you look, Martin, look a little bit further down the leaderboard here, there are some teams that we expected to, come out of the gate swinging. Didn't have the best of days, but it is only day 1. So when you see your Phases, TSM, Zens, Team Liquid on that right-hand side, there's not too much reason to be concerned here after 1 day, right?
No, for sure not. No reason for concern. Agreed with that. There's 4 games yesterday, and usually we had in our groups we had 6 games a day, so the separation doesn't happen. But yes, Liquid had 1 really great game yesterday, and then 3 kind of bad ones, like outside having a few kills in them. So I had actually listened to Clip a little bit about it today, and he was like, "Yeah, we should have won that." They felt they had the upper hand there, and they could have won it, but still they had a really great game with 14 kills and a 3rd place, which is fine as well. And this is the kind of games that they can do, right? And get 3 bad games on day 1, it's fine. They're gonna have 2 or 3 good games today, and they'll be completely fine. And I think we're gonna see your Liquids, your Phase. I think we're gonna see them jump on the left side of the leaderboard today.
How about yourself, Roz? What are your thoughts regarding some of our bigger names down towards the bottom?
I mean, let's continue a little bit on Liquid there, because I feel like yesterday what we saw was I wouldn't really say they were over-rotating, but there was a lot of rotations from them going into the center. And what we saw, the differential game 2 when they got this 3rd place with 14 kills compared to the other games, is that on game 2 they rotated into a compound and they were holding that compound down. They were basically grouping up a lot more. The other games, we see them splitting up a little bit more. We see them going for the rotations towards center once again. But these times, they were not going for a compound. It was basically more in the open. There was less cover to play with. And that was their downfall, because it was way too early. And they basically just got shot from every direction because of it.
That's fair. That is fair. And when you look a little further down here, the leaderboards, obviously you've got some of our other teams that we're expecting to have some bigger results out of. Bystanders and currently in 8th here. Martin, not too many points behind. I think the one thing that really did stand out yesterday is the fact that, as I mentioned before, is that nobody really sponged up a huge amount. You mentioned that it's quite linear. So yesterday, I think, was a proving ground to show that a lot of these teams are very, very close, even just kind of in a small sprint compared to even just the marathon.
Yeah, they are, and it's also the depth here. We have 16 teams. We might have 12, 14 teams that is able to get into a top 3 spot, depending on how well they're able to perform and how well they're kind of able to decipher how the meta is going and how the other teams are playing and how well prepared they've been going into this. I mean, it's been 2 weeks off. You've had plenty of time for preparation. No excuses there for sure. So I'm just looking at the team, seeing if they make the same mistakes. We're playing 24 games here. So are they making the same mistakes again and again now that we're playing the games again today? We're playing 4 more games. And are they, learning from day to day and from game to game?
Who impressed you the most yesterday, Froz? Are there any particular teams that do stand out to you from yesterday's performances?
I mean, I gotta say Tornado, of course. I feel like that was outstanding from them compared to what we normally see from them. Also, of course, NLT getting 2 wins, you can't take that away. But overall, I think it was very passive from almost every team. We didn't see too much. One team that was not playing it passive would be Redline. They would basically, in Circle 1, straight away, they would just crash anything. It doesn't matter if it's going to be inside Circle 2 or not. We see them do these kind of crashes all the time. Super aggressive. Does it pay off? I wouldn't really say it does. Not so far, Lee. But, I kind of like it, though, because it's kind of something the teams are not expecting, that you'll get crashed by a full team that early on in the game. And even if you do, you wouldn't think that they would go on with it and just keep on doing it every game. Maybe they would do it in one game or something and learn that, okay, it didn't work out. But they keep on doing it. I respect that.
Yeah, fair. I'm going to come back on that in a moment because we do have the Pick'em Challenge going on right now. And below me, materializing, we have a code that has limited uses, but you can use that as well to get yourself some extra esports points, voting coupon actually for this one in particular. But if you're watching and you have your Twitch account bound to your PUBG account, you can actually gain yourself esports points just by watching. It's fantastic. You can buy yourself some skins with that as well. Coming back on your point, Froz, it was a loaded question because there was one team for me. Well, actually, there was a few teams, but there was one team in particular that shone for me. And it was really cool to see, Martin. It was Pink Pony, 26 points yesterday. And I really liked their Erangel performance, Martin.
Yeah, I hope that you like their Erangel performance because they only got this 5 points, I believe it was. No, 7 points on Miramar. So and no placement points as well. But they were able to frag out. They were able to kill a lot. They had a good game. On the first Erangel game, they were able to get a 2nd place and 10 kills, so that really carried the day yesterday. But they have to continue this kind of performance. You can't just have those like one standout performance and then be below the average if you want to stay there up in the top 8.
Yeah, definitely so. And of course, today, as always, we will have 2 Miramars and then 2 Erangels going on in. What did you think of Pink Pony, Froz? I thought, given a 7th place after one day in this kind of lobby, not too bad at all.
I mean, yeah, totally. And they kind of continue the playstyle they brought in from the group stage, which is basically playing controversial spots. You're playing spots where no one else wants to play, and you're taking that ground. No one is going to expect you to be there, and that's when they strike. And that's what's so great with this team, because if you can master this kind of playstyle, you're going to have every spot for yourself. No one's going to contest you for it. But there's a reason why no one wants to play them as well, because normally they are a little bit worse to play from. But if you can master them, you know exactly how to make those spots stronger for you and how you can play it out and win from those. You're going to be one of the top teams, 100%, because no one else wants to play from there. And that's kind of what you saw yesterday when Liquid drove into Los Leones in Game 1. They didn't expect Pink Pony to go there. Same thing, for example, in the group stage when we saw Pink Pony playing on the field of Erangel, playing in the new trenches there. No one expects someone to be there in Circle 1, but Pink Pony is there. So now all the teams, they need to look out for these kind of spots because you never know where Pink Pony will be in the game.
Yep, it's nice. It is nice indeed. It makes a little bit of a shake-up, especially since they weren't really considered one of the names that you would think would get into the top 16, but then did by the skin of their teeth, and so far so good for them. What are the names I'm looking out for here, gentlemen, before we actually get into it? Teams like Sauna Boys, Winstreak is one of them that didn't have a great day yesterday, Martin, but I'm expecting more from when we've seen some of their past results, I think from PCS2 and DreamHack, etc. What are your thoughts, Martin?
On Winstreak specifically, yeah, for sure, they are a team that has to be up there. They need to step up. They need to be in the top 10 at least for this lobby here for sure. I know, yeah, sure. I mean, there has to be somebody in the bottom 6, right? But these guys have the experience. We saw, yeah, sure. Some games they struggled, but specifically in the last few parts of the group stage, they were able to step up. They were able to really kind of put the pedal to the metal and get a lot of frags. And I know they're able to. So I was kind of hoping to see what they were able to do in the last parts of the group stage to bring that kind of momentum into the grand finals. But we haven't seen that yet from it's 4 games down, I know, but they have the potential to do so, and I really want to see that from them.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. At 10th place currently, Redline. Martin already talked about them quite a bit here. Froz, did you already touch on everything that you wanted to speak about with them, or?
Yeah, but let's speak about Storm Boys since you just mentioned them a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we know that yesterday, of course, they had a little bit of contest in Gatka. That was on the last game, though. They got himself a few kills, but what I want to see from Storm Boys is that currently they're kind of playing as a edge group, but they would play edge and group up a lot. But I think they will find more success if they go a little bit deeper into the circle, trying to take more control, trying to take a little bit more ground, because right now we see them getting caught on the edge time after time after time, and they don't manage to get inside if they don't get the hard shift, and that is why they're not getting any points right now.
Yeah, the Sauna Boys, I think it was Etiquette that hot dropped them, right, over in Gatka.
Yeah.
Quite a focal point of that last game for the day. Obviously, it can be a strong spot, a good potential to split from that kind of area to then rotate. It's not exactly far away from a central location, Martin. So when you see those kind of hot drops, are you okay with them? Both teams aren't doing great right now. What are your thoughts regarding it?
So it's 24 games, right? And half of the games, 12 of them will be played on Erangel. So I will say it's okay to fight for that for a game or two maybe, and then kind of look your other ways, because like after one game you can already see where the other teams are dropping, where there potentially could be space for it. But on the west side and south side of Georgia Pole, and in general on the west side, anywhere between Pachinki and West Coast, actually has quite a few compounds, and there's quite a lot of splits you can make in if you don't want to if you want to avoid the hot drop, I feel like.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Well, gentlemen, as everybody out there may have realized, we're just going on a little bit before this game actually gets started. We're going to go to a short break to get everybody ready and good to go. And when we return, we're going to be jumping in to our first Miramar. So we'll see you after this here at PCS3. Sometimes on the battlegrounds, not everything goes as planned. Let's take a look at a few of those moments. Near the swamp, what's going on, Martin? What are you looking at? It's nades! It's nades!
That's nades, and they're good. They're on point. This nade coming in is literally a missile, and it's hit the tree as well. Oh my god, it's on top of him.
That is not something you see too often.
All right, Toby, off the drop, into the cars. You know what? Let's Uber. Let's car share, you know?
Yeah, they're not on the same team here. This is gonna be... Oh, we all know where this is going. Altap, you're dead. Yep, that's the first one. That's the... Wait, is he?
Alright. He's got those moves like Jagger. He's moving.
What is going on?
Run. Snake, wind him over.
No way! No!
Take it out! Hey!
That's amazing!
Alright, 303, moving down against the best team, Tornado Energy, Toby.
Yeah, or what's left of it, Melman. All on his own here. There are so many things that can go wrong in this spin.
Molly.
For example, they're all over the place. Let's see what's gonna happen, Chris. Oh, his feet is on fire. And now he's running the wrong way. He's rolling into the molly.
There's too many mollies at this point. You gonna throw another molly in?
It's hard to keep track of. Yuri is gonna... Oh no, he's on fire too. No, Mailman dies to a molly. Will Lori get away? Can he get metal? No, he did. Oh no. Well, at least Anonym will... Wait, no, wait.
What? They all burned?
On fire!
Hold on. We're the only ones allowed to have fun here. Cut that off. No fun allowed. The churches are ringing. They've got, the bat signal going. They're like, hey, someone other than you guys is having fun. Cut that noise off. But no, it's good to have a little laugh. And, the guys on the desk actually have a personality. Who'd have believed it?
We get to introduce the Sholoran this time round. That's an interesting one. James don't get to throw it to us. It feels weird. You actually get to bring us in. What's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's day 2. It's match 5. I can't do it. It's too much. It's a plane in the air, guys. Let's get into it. Things are exciting. The desk. When they're breaking down the pink ponies and Martin's eyes are glazing over? they'd hit a rough patch. But we are going to have a good game to start with because Miramar, as I said, there's not too many games to be played here, right? This is going to be those kind of, you've got to deliver on the day, and some teams will do better than others at this, I feel. And already those leaderboards, Rich, they're a little bit unique, and I wonder if they're going to last. I was surprised that the desk was saying that they feel as though it's going to be somewhat similar today, because as it stands, if I'm not mistaken, it's what, Northern Lights, Tornado Energy, and DA, and then Omicron towards the top, right? So that's the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised at the end if some of those teams are still involved. I just don't see that being a consistent factor, especially when you have the likes of Liquid in 9th, FaZe in 13th, TSM 12th. I feel as though surely there's room there.
I suppose it all goes how this game number 1 all kicks off. I mean, when you look at the flight path that starts us off, starting over Impala, northeast, and we go towards northwest, there isn't a great deal of room to be taking more southerly swings and more southerly, approaches. If you want to go down, you want to loot there, you're going to be quite close together and very, very close proximity. I mean, we've already got a fight straight off his hands, to be honest with you, and I expect this across the board. There won't be, as we saw yesterday, the hot drop come in. Oh, we didn't at first, but we did catch it in the end. Don't worry, it all got there and we got through it. But with Smash being so close to beam it, it all depends who sees it one another first. Clearly the information's there, and the guns most certainly are in the favour of Beamy, I would say, with the barrel up against the SMG, but it comes down to what kind of gear are you wearing. He does have a chest.
And it does help that Beamy is currently, if again, not mistaken, one of the top fraggers, sitting up towards 9 kills with Clib and Page. And keep in mind as well, Liquid's 21 points, 9 of those coming from Clib. So having a fragger like that still standing and doing well is going to help, and Beamy is up there with him. This time, instantly put down, Smash with a quick little peek out with that UMP doing just fine. And luckily for him, getting that drop on the shot almost, getting that first shot to come through, because he didn't have a vest, a helmet, or anything. So if any of those bullets came towards him, that barrel was going to just tear him to pieces. So well played by Smash just to catch enough of an angle on Beamy to take him down.
Nice bit of a laser beam and it's job done. You can see him as well. There are a small adjustment to take a peek and see if anyone's going to try and follow that one up and maybe try and get revenge, but it's not to be for now. Flaming in the distance, cycling whatever he's got on him. I mean, K98, you got to ask at this point, is there any scopes on it? I saw the grenade being cycled. All right, the M4's there as well, so we do have some sort of a defensive stance if you want to go toe-to-toe with him. The map itself, given the flight path, it becomes a little bit more difficult for certain teams, especially more towards the southern side of the circle, with the circle hitting towards the north. You do get that pocket more towards the eastern side of this map. I mean, hell, I look at this circle and it just crests the edge of it from Shift W, Ents, Etiquette, Pink Pony, all the way down Team Liquid, and then 3 teams that are locked out behind them in the south that have yet to make an entrance point. They need to find their way forward, and they need to hope that teams in front of them do magnetize towards the middle. Should they do that, it makes it a little bit easier, because at the moment, with how many teams are actually playing border control, this is going to be much more difficult. Phase adjustment for them, obviously from Monte Nueva, where you would sometimes see them more on that western side. They're up in the north this time. Plenty of room, plenty of ground to play with. They get the first pick of the bunch, whether they go more centralized on the circle, or they just kind of hover around up north, take a big amount of land, and go on a spread. They can put players individually and just kind of take what they want, really. Again, there's always that trade-off where you might come up against an enemy team, unfortunately, then you find yourselves in an unwinnable scenario just because of manpower, but yeah, this will be an interesting one, mainly from rotations down south.
Okay. I do want to see how this fares for Liquid, especially considering they didn't have a great day one, excluding Clib. Clib's just fine. Clib's a fragger. I always feel like he's going to be okay, but placement-wise, it wasn't ideal. I think everyone can see that. But with that circle, as you highlighted, being northern, those rotation routes can be a little bit trickier. For them, if they get past maybe Northern Lights cleanly, they don't lose anyone on rotation, we could see a good game out of Liquid, but we'll have to wait and see. For now, though, FaZe going to be sitting in prime territory up here. Na'Vi always seem to do well from these circles as well, as they are going to be coming in on that longer swing, probably heading all the way up, potentially Oasis coming into a possibility. And God, if I got an Oasis ending, that would make me so pleased. But I won't get ahead of myself. It is going to be that southern side, you're right. So let's look at who the other teams are there. Omicron, one of them, heading on the eastern coast. Now, I do see Shift W, which does draw my attention. These guys will hang around. You know, roll your mind back many a year now. They used to play that edge game like champs. So, I mean, I'd be a little scared of that. Now, bear in mind, Ents will be the one to run that gauntlet first, though.
They're not afraid to do things like that in that sense. I mean, it's obviously a different map, but perpendicular to where they actually loot down outside the fields and Impala, then move the way up. It's not unknown territory, but as you say, they will have that information as much as we do. That Shift W held since the Germans back on G2 used to run this area as their own. They used to loot up here. They used to be playing blockades on it. Whether or not they leave someone back to check for those rotations is a different question altogether. I can see Brexcar is on the main road, just taking a bit of a check-in to see if anyone does want to try and get the rotate in from Elazar. It is clear for now. They could go up the top side of Cruz de Val if they really wanted to, but I can see actually Chris is going much deeper. It could be dangerous because he is now toe-to-toe with FaZe Clan in the back. So that's something we will have to see unfold. Even if he just knocks one down from FaZe, it's damage done amongst the ranks. Redline, TSM, Tornado Energy, they've all centralized. TSM is by water treatment. In the middle, you've got Redline. Then up on just on the hillside, cresting that, you've got Tornado Energy. But then you can even throw WS into mix as well. Smash onto the bystanders once again. The warning shots are there, and Yellow and Yacht will continue onwards. No damage is done this time. Sauna Boys all the way on the west. They'll be coming in behind Tornado Energy. And then the long rotators that you just saw on screen. DA, bystanders, and just in front of them, Pink Pony. They're probably the last ones towards the circle. Navi have started their rotate as well, opting to stick on the outskirts. But as you mentioned, Lauren, we really won't expect anything less. They're not that team just to centralize up after circle number 1 and kind of stay their feet.
Yeah, now I want to look at who's in the kind of god compounds for this circle. As it stands, if we look at water treatment, my mind goes either surrounding it, which would be kind of your FaZe area. They have a very strong compound. Shift W also looking towards that. TSM on the road itself, but it's Redline. Redline, the team that has a very strong position. Same with Tornado Energy. Any of these teams around this plateau area that kind of almost opposite to water treatment can be very strong. Now, if this does hard shift, yeah, that's when, you know, it gets a little funky. But we'll see if that comes through. You can see a couple of teams hoping for a hard shift potentially, the likes of maybe DA, Bystanders, Pink Ponies, Omicron, Ents, you know, those on the extremities, even Na'Vi. The amount of times we've seen this go towards the west, it's not unheard of, it's not unknown, but we know the tendency and the likelihood is that water treatment does get, you know, a couple of circles its way. For now, though, I want to see if TSM, Liquid, if there's any posturing, any knocks early, because you'd love to see a late game with all of those big teams alive who can play those final circles just so well. And so, meticulous in approach, being very, very cautious. And we've had Ents have a couple of good games up in the north. Roll your mind back to, again, that Mad Mountain finish we had that we hadn't seen before. Ents did quite well in that. Same with Na'Vi, of course, who do drop very close by. So for some of these teams, they could definitely do with a couple more points. Na'Vi, again, yesterday didn't have the best of times. They were, you know, losing a couple of players early, a little slower than they'd like. And then the polar side is these two, Tornado Energy and Northern Lights. Northern Lights had a question mark around them coming into this tournament, at least for me, as we've seen the high point. But, okay, well, does it continue? Do we see that consistency that we put as the biggest trophy next to good teams? And actually, yesterday, we did see a bit of that. So if that's a good signal, we're in for a great time. I would say for Tornado Energy, keep in mind, they had some high-kill games. Now, whether that can be replicated day by day, hey, that's the other thing. A couple of teams can do it for sure. And when Tornado Energy are on, they absolutely can.
I think it's good that the Northern Lights managed to kind of just do it on 3 games, if you will. You know, they had a 15th placement at one point with 0 kills, so you're up at the top there with 2 wins, and you've only really got anything from 3 games going. So to be number 1 really does kind of set a tone and set a precedence. Now, this is an interesting circle. It becomes a little bit more predictable for teams. I was saying that central area was the focal point for all these rosters looking at it, because you do have that hillside more towards the west, where it will eventually push from the fields. It moves out of the crater fields, it moves out of the crater edge, where Na'Vi will be working their way around. It doesn't actually go inside it, so it'll probably more than likely now go towards the top side of that between their position and La Cobarreria. It's, yeah, it's one of those where everyone's kind of thinking, all right, it's going to go central, we want to be in this position. That's all for a second, Lauren, because Na'Vi, taking early residency, managed to pick up a frag by keeping this one their own.
You're right, and they're in a bit of a split. Now, I don't always associate Na'Vi with that sort of positioning, so maybe this is just how they're kind of currently standing, as they were closer towards the extremity than the center, but now, obviously, as the hard shift came in, they will take residency in a more centralized area. So Senya and Tab staying as a bit of a duo there. Orange and Besto slightly further south, just on the cusp of those craters. And you're going to have the Sauna Boys close by. We already saw the casualty coming out from WS. Now, everyone else, this is Liquid and DA in a very weird spot. DA just turning up as Liquid are leaving. This is very strange, and this could be the downfall of Liquid. Maybe not expecting this, and I don't... wait, Clip just turned that around. Oh, you gotta feel bad. You gotta be feeling bad. DA's just turned up and like, oh, this is perfect. They had no idea. And then suddenly Clip goes, there's a reason I'm at the top of the scoreboard, boys. There's a good goddamn reason. So now, DA gonna have to pick up the pieces. Mexi and James are a little stuck though. So you've got Clip and Ibby on the ground, and these two are gonna just have to hold position. Nade's gonna come through. Mert's in no man's land, not recoverable for a good long while. He's just gonna be out here. That smoke might keep him safe. Smash a little further forward, but I want to look at the angles that maybe Clip can get. Yeah, so if Smash falls back, very open, but these aren't easy shots with a barrel. That thing bounces. Nice little nade though. You can see the damage trickling through.
You spoke about recovery, Lauren, and this is exactly what it's going to be for Liquid if they solidify this one. To be able to turn around, turn and face this, and take this fight head-on is phenomenal work. Now, remember, they had the first player knocked on their side. They turn, they get the resuscitation off, and now they're back on the offensive. With 2 players been able to flank through the garage, they've knocked out 2. They know they're going to be going for the heals. They can't afford to lose more. We're losing Mert. They know they're down to 3, so they're counting the numbers here. They know exactly who's in a really bad position, who's going to be out, and who's going to be potentially down at this moment in time. It's their turn to strike. They have the advantage. There's 3 of them all together. Even if one of them knocks at this point, they can just go for the overpeak and get the return frag.
Trellius still alive. I want to keep my eyes on this man. Code Marco. I haven't seen him shine yet within this DA roster, but we know how good he was prior to that point. So I really want to see him come together with this and find that chemistry and the comfort to be able to maybe pop off a little more. But James being up on top, a little dangerous, considering the angles will be at least initially favorable towards DA. The return fire could be quite good for Liquid, but the sad fact for Liquid is they wanted to leave this. They wanted to move on, but now they're going to have to take this fight, and it's going to be quite tricky to clear. Look how many obstacles and objects are in the way, but it's a quick shot from Clib. It's so good from Clib. That man is a monster. 2 huge kills, and he didn't have the advantage on either of them. Code Marco is looking rough in all kinds of ways. Attack from Tornado Energy, God knows where that just came from. But for now, I'm pretty sure James just heard that, and he's calling the cavalry over. They're going to swarm this.
That's about a 900-meter shot in the distance. They're up on the edge of the crater. So to be able to tag that, you spoke about Liquid staying stationary and wanting to get away from this. That's the disadvantage. They're more than likely going to clean this fight absolutely spot on. They don't lose anybody, but it's slowed them down. It's put them out of position. It's put them out of place. They're on the edge of the circle now, and people are making note of their position. Red line on the rotate. They do lose 1 in transition. It's rather unfortunate. We said eventually it could get a bit sketchy with how the position of this playing path was. Red line, I believe, have lost 2. QB there, at least full HP. Ivers down, but not out. They will be able to at least take these shacks, so it's something, but you do have plenty of teams lingering and lurking in the distance. Na'Vi's still sitting comfortably, but it is a 2-2 split, so they are separated should teams want to pressure them. Tornado Energy, again, still in that ridge area, kind of where I spoke about, where you see the bevel at the outside of the crater. It is only 1 man, I suppose, when you see the rest of them that down low. If they can finish ETG, maybe they can just leave Alia up there to keep track on what's going on. More importantly, keep a track of Liquid, because he knows they're there. ETG out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, moving on towards TSM. Not really anywhere else they can go. If they disengage from this one, they'll run into TE or red line. So they have to try and tackle this one head on. But the question is, does TSM note their position? Do they have the information? I'd suggest if there was a vehicle close, they would.
They seem very aware. Now, I don't know about TSM on the other side. Looks like Vard's keeping track of this as well. Slightly disconnected from the compound itself, but not by a long shot. You can see a 2-2 for ETG as they try to maybe mount their approach, but you see Vard trying to watch the extremity, just that corner, so if they do silhouette on the way around, you should be able to have the advantage on it. But there's the first bit of contact going to come through, and it's a good nade. It does find a tag, and it's going to force Vard slightly further away. Careful on the cross there. Vard could have been open, but it's Iroh to receive most of the attention, and he's stuck here. I don't think he can really get out from this. No, he can't. Forever's gone and found him, and TSM looking a little worse for wear. Going to depend on someone like Fex here to dig him out of a bit of a tricky spot. Vard and Miraku further back, but Fex has fallen, and suddenly TSM looking in a very bad spot.
They don't want to get inside because there were some bullets coming from the distance too. Nades will continue in to try and push this one out. Vard's still looking for the 2 that aren't inside the compound, and his job is to try and keep them at bay. Let what's left of the team try and do some work. Miraku's there at least to support him, but you can still see that tracer fire coming in, and that's why we'll probably just fall back ever so slightly. Vard could do with a banger of a nade here. Doesn't find a target just yet. Vard clearly made note that there is 2 still to get involved in this fight. If he didn't know before, he definitely does now. Then the Lost can push onto this one. If they know they're separated, they use the advantage, they use the time properly. The nade has been pulled, the pin's out. Will it find the target? No, it does not. They're getting aggressive. They want to get involved here. If they can wipe out TSM, this is a beautiful little push.
Certainly could be. Still have to dig these players out of positions, but they're isolated, hard to trade on, and hard to make anything happen beyond those 1v1 fights, which, hey, they can work. But Batulin's just found Ibby. Nice quick shot from Vaughn. That's the man TSM fans were waiting to see. They paid premium price for this. They're getting a damn good show, but there are still threats aplenty, and TSM now operating with less, but they want to try and take this momentum forward, and Vard's going to lead that way and take down the final member. Big turnaround for TSM, staying alive and getting a couple of points in the pocket, but they've suffered casualty for this. Now, they do keep not even a particularly relevant compound, but you saw Liquid in a bit of a fight with Northern Lights. Now, that's a scary one, as this rotation route for Liquid's pretty treacherous. Same for Northern Lights. They don't have the easiest way forward, and a crash comes in. It's Tornado Energy towards Redline. Redline took a fair beating on the way to these rather dilapidated shacks. Not exactly the prime territory here, but it will do. Ivar's going to try and get himself a couple more bullets to play with. Takes the fight and takes, well, an awkward exchange. A little bit too close for comfort as Tornado Energy going to sweep through.
They did remove him. They do clear him out. They don't lose anyone while doing so. Getting back on his feet and it's job done. Another fantastic job. A fantastic job from Vard, though, just to solidify that for TSM and keep them in the game. I know they lost 2 players, but what an absolute unit of a player. Northern Lights, it's time for them to move. They could take the dirt road side and maybe just linger here and posture for now and maybe even get the bearings. It's quite open unless Liquid wants to move up to the crater's edge. Orange is down. Let's make note of that. And if they do have the information, they could try and make something of it. Le Cabaret is getting extremely busy, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams now. All sitting residency. The problem is for me at this one, Lauren, like with this circle, the more it moves away from the city, the more difficult it is, because we know that we have that big, long back wall that kind of, well, you can see it on screen at the moment, that holds Le Cabaret in. You can very, very easily get boxed into this city if the circle is super unfavorable. It can still go anywhere. At this point, it might even come to the city, which makes it all that much more difficult for all the teams that are down towards the south and have to basically just run that open road from the crater's edge. 50-50 and kind of on a knife's edge here. Pick your poison, set up shop, and get ready for what's about to come. It's still the northern edge that's going to be extremely busy as TSM are going for that really long rotate. I'm wondering, do Na'Vi realize Liquid slowly working their way up here? Because if they do not, they are going to get the biggest shock of their life.
I'd like to throw into the fact that Tornado Energy have just pulled up on the ridgeline as well. They've purposely done this. 2 of them just split off. It's Alia and I think it was Melman who just split from the other 2. So Na'Vi are probably going to put more attention towards them, which could open up a big opportunity for Liquid. Because as you said, they have no idea that Liquid are here. They timed it just so right that when I think Orange got knocked, they moved up in the shadow of the hill. They've made a perfect approach as Jeems is right there. They're going to spot out 1, but Besto's still unknown, at least to Jeems. Maybe the others have spotted him. Even hearing this, yeah, for sure hearing this and seeing this. Jeems would have loved to have had that quicker, but Clib's got the off angle. Going to get another quick flush too. This is nice, but this will alert the others. Now everyone's going to be looking their way. Orange is in all kinds of trouble. Knocked down. Jeems on the claim. Can't get the flush, but now Tornado Energy becomes Liquid's problem.
Ali has been up here for quite some time, so should have been able to pass all this info back. You saw earlier on with the 3 that have gone down towards the shacks, they have split 1, sent them back for the 2-2, split their resources and try and garner more information. Miracle going down, so there's Wanderer as well. Shift W just fighting tooth and nail to be able to get inside of this circle. Now it has moved to very open and barren area, so we would assume at this point that it's going to pull away from the city, which basically just puts us in dead water, to be fair. Liquid could potentially be the kings of the mountains, quite literally, with that last scrape of shelter in front of them. The bystanders are making an unorthodox move here. You can see Flamey is just running towards some ditches. He does have a vehicle, so he can box it up there, and it actually just might kind of stake a claim for his teammates to be able to roll into. My only problem with that is that the Northern Lights, if they have utility, at this point, they can just bombard people, just launch it down and find your target. But the northern side of this, it's going to be extremely dangerous. It's going to be extremely deadly. We've got so many teams and so little room to house all of them.
Okay. Let's let's kind of look at the two sides of the coin. We've got teams playing for what I would say is superior positioning late game, which will probably be that hillside. If you've already got it, you're going to stay there, right? So you've got a couple of them kind of peacocking around trying to control it. The Northeast is a similar thing, Shift W, Na'Vi, the Sauna Boys, WS. But the city fight is what's going to keep me a little interested for a couple, maybe a minute or so here, just to see how they get away from this, because the Pink Ponies have found a way across the road, but yet to get in. Currently, Ents kind of control the edge of that circle. Phase slightly deeper, and Omakan with a more northern touch to it. Now this is on the other side of the town, just on the outskirts, running up the hill. The Sauna Boys have actually gotten to this position and managed to be, I don't want to say safe here, but they have the potential to get a clean fight against Chris, which is something you don't often have. Shift W normally have that really nice split. They have those kind of like unique 1-1s that somehow work, and it's mostly off the back of individuals. And this is exactly what I mean. The likes of Kilyakai, Chris coming up with the goods, but they are suffering on the other side. Rexico's gone down. Dangerous way to play the game, but the Blues on the back of the opponents. The Sauna Boys feeling worse for wear and having to move as they go. Now with WS coming in again, Kemba finding Anonymous. This is all going quite well for now, and Shift W still maintain the line. Kilyakai wants more and gets more. The Finns are found and put down. Now we've got to look further afield. This looks like the Wanderer's going to try and shuffle in if he can. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it. No. Can't quite get away from Zocker's eyesight. So that does mean the northeast side will be Shift W's and Na'Vis. The south, a little bit more, sorted, but it's the city, Rich. This could go off any second.
I think it's starting to begin, with Pink Pony going to be camping outside Enz's territory. It's only Diggory, excuse me, last man standing. This nade could find two of them if he gets the knock, but one of them's at the windows and he has to be very careful. Door open, welcome, thank you very much. The shot and response is back though, very little. Oh, nice dip down, and also an instant spray with a mini, but it doesn't quite get it. What a damn good effort though. Valiant attempt. 11th place will be Enz's position. FaZe is starting to move. Now, they don't want to get involved in this too early. They just want to get as much information as possible. They're locking down the alleyway. Yes, it is a bit of a bottleneck if a team does want to kind of walk this way around. They can use the wall and the buildings. There are doors there too. Blue, smokes are up. And again, bystanders going a little bit early and sending one player out to be the sniffer dog has paid off and really paid its dividends. They've taken the most solidest dip, to be honest with you. Again, if Northern Lights do have utility, they can just throw it in there and clear them out, but it's coulda, woulda, shoulda, to be fair. You'd have to assume at this point that Northern Lights wouldn't be going towards the city and they'd try and take this sideline. Utility is cycled now in the hands of all the players on the side of bystanders for all but a moment. Whether they've been thrown is a different question altogether. Na'Vi on the offensive onto Tornado Energy. IDD onto Kilyakai as well, so all the fights are beginning to unfold as the teams towards the north try and worm their way through this city. Tornado Energy have to clean out Na'Vi. This is the last... It's not even inside the circle, but certainly it's an obstacle that they have to get through first before they try and get to the circle cleanly. 3 players would do it, but still, with Senya in a very isolated position, it does have a small height advantage. The tab, Bert Nade. Not landing onto him. Tries to get one off on the corners with the smoke coming back. It gives them something to walk into, or maybe even just an obstacle they can use for bait. If Senya's been drawn out by this and thinks that they're running towards his right-hand side, maybe he opts to go there. They put him out of position, sweep round on the tab, and it's job done. Clip goes down to the blue, rather unfortunate. That's a big fragger. Going out for Team Liquid. Senya does fall, and it comes down for the tab to hold the line.
Okay. There he goes. It felt there was a time limit on that, and I was waiting for it to hit, and Alia finds it just right. Na'Vi go down, and the 2-2 split is finally eliminated with the aggression from Tornado Energy. They do claim the east, and now we've got to look at what remains in the circle. Northern Lights got kind of caught on the way in. They had to make a mad dash for it, and the split and the portion that worked was the one towards the kind of city wall that holds somewhat of the city safe. You've got FaZe in here, the Pink Ponies, Omakan, the remainder of TSM. Towards the south, bystanders Shift W, a bit of Northern Lights, a little bit of Liquid, and Tornado Energy in the east. But look how close FaZe are here. They have 3 standing, no kills. Gemty is just on the other side. Contact's already being made, but he wants to keep that surprise element, and it's shifted away. This is huge now. All these teams in the city are about to be disrupted. Already Example getting himself in the kill feed, though, finding Yellow kind of across the playable area currently. And, well, that means problems for bystanders. They were quite safe up there, more towards the southern side on the higher end of the ridge, but already spotted. They can't do much more with it. But the city can only go so many ways. And for now, it looks like Omakan with Gemty in the position he's in. You'd argue he's the best bet to keep this circle safe. If it was going to turn into a bloodbath, there's no clean way out of here. So already Pink Pony's maybe looking for that fight, looking for a couple of points on the way through, because this is going to be brutal, Rich.
This circle's just murdered over half the server. Like, where do you go? If you're in that city, you try and run the wall. You get to the end of it, you've got FaZe Clan and Omicron that are going to be fighting over basically the final scraps of it. For everyone else, if you want to try and run in the open, Bystanders, Tornado Energy, Shift W, they're all waiting. Position was noted earlier on from FaZe Clan. A different member spotted out Jempty and fed that back to Aitzy. Finally, his position will be noted. The smokes will go down, which gives them some sort of element to use to their advantage.
They've just made a
honestly, I
death
think
funnel.
Omicron can just... yeah, I think Omicron can just literally strangulate them. Fuzzface, 2-for-1 nade comes in, gets in while it looks potentially like it was on the res. Northern Lights are actually outside of this wall. Let's not forget they can't get in because of where the blue is. They will potentially die on transition. That car has flipped. Maybe they were trying to bring it up against the wall for a little bit of cover. Yeah, I think everyone's strangulated. This circle has just been an absolute brutal killer.
Jempty just needs to stay alive, right? He is the anchor point to this. He needs everyone else to die around him, and your teammates do everything you can to keep Jempty alive. Page has already fallen, and FaZe are good at these scenarios, and that's what scares me. There is only 3 of them, and the smokes are rife. You can barely see anything. The thick smog of the city keeping everyone from having vision at all. Northern Lights with a quick mad play. They've got to try and make something happen, and none of it works. Liquid just got battered, as did FaZe. This is great work from Omicron. Somehow, keeping all their players in the right places. They're still cautious. They're still scared of another creature appearing from the smoke. But they did it. They did what they needed to. And now with 3 alive, the res going to come back up. They get in towards the final circle. Now look at this. We have 5 teams and 11 players. Scraps left over. Northern Lights with 2. Omicron with 3. Shift W with 1. Bystanders 2. Look at this from Vazku. Beautiful work. Really nice close quarter play here. But then Tornado Energy are being the biggest boys in this circle. High ground on their side and confidence beside them. Keep in mind they've got some big fraggers here too. Ali's been having a tournament so far. So if he keeps going, this is going to be dangerous for everyone else.
Molly down, scored its target as well. And the wandering around, it's whoever can pick up the final point. The Bystanders. So, Tornado Energy 3, Omicron 3, Bystanders 2, Northern Lights 1. Lou could probably be a bit of a daredevil here and do some danger to Omicron. They've been provided a gift by the circle being in their favor at this side of the city. They just need one good nade to clear him out, and then they can advance forward, or they just need Alia to do them a favor and be able to remove him from that position. Now he's gone, there is something to move. There is some sign of life, but it's not going to happen. I mean, for so long, Lauren, Tornado Energy have just been up in the hillside. It's just been so fruitful them that the kills, the frags, it's all theirs.
They had to crush Na'Vi. They've had to play against a couple of pretty hard teams to fight against, and they've done well. And it's got them to this position, and they have all the cards. This would take something very surprising or something very individually above the standard to see it go against Tornado Energy right here. With 14 kills, probably make it 15 pretty soon. These guys are on for a belting first game, and we saw this before. These guys were leading the way on kills. They were looking great, and look at these shots. Omicron were one of the teams against them that had a similar performance. They had a couple of outstanding plays, and already Omicron are gone. Now down to just 2, the Bystanders, with 2 remaining. Flammy Short trying to get close to Tornado Energy, but these guys have so much momentum beside them. Example's going to try and get involved early on, and he's going to just shred them limb from limb. Nothing to be done, nothing more to be seen. This one's over. Tornado Energy with a commanding game. 16 kills in the first place, Rich. That is above and beyond what I'd expect from most teams here.
That is phenomenal work, and you can tell by the boys' faces what it means to them. This is a roster that we were looking to come into this and perform to levels that we've not seen for quite some time. We knew what they were capable of. We knew they had something hidden away, tucked away, and finally, they're showing it. Is it 39 kills they're going to be on now? So 39 points from frags alone is insane. That's a bit of a clinic for 5 games. I mean, I'm looking across the board. I remember, I think it was yesterday, they had a 14th, 15th position, which basically got them nothing. So you kind of throw that in the mix as well. That'll shoot them up into first position. Like, that is a damn good job. But it all comes down to, and Frost spoke about it, and I hope Frost can go into it a little bit more when he's touching it in the pregame afterwards. But the flexing, having 2 players constantly hopping back and forth, being up high, one set being down low, just keeping so much ground available to them, but more importantly, information. Feeding that information back to the team, it's paid off. It's paid off big time.
Okay, we've got to head back to the panel. James, have you got out your Tornado Energy jersey yet? Have you put it back on? How does it feel to be their biggest fan?
That's right, Lauren. Never doubted them for a second. Tornado Energy, they're back, baby. Firing on all cylinders. Love it a lot. Nice to see. A big win as well for them here on Miramar to start things off. I've got Avenger and Froz with me here. Froz, why don't you reply to the Sims?
Let's talk about that. Yeah, of course, we saw that Tornado, they got himself that 16-kill win there. Some would say they're not back yet. We have to wait a little bit longer. Some would say they are back. And that was looking really good, honestly. And it comes back to what we were talking about during the pre-show, how they were flexing and not just grouping up together on the edge. This time we saw them do a 3-1 split. You had Alia on the very, very high top there on the south side, of course. He was looking out the whole time, scouting around. You could even see that he got a hit on Code Marco from DA when DA and Liquid was fighting. And that was 800 meters away. He just took a cheeky shot at him. But no, seriously, being up there, he gets so much information because he can scout out everything. He knows where everybody's rotating. He can hear the shots. He can locate where all the teams are right now, where they're going. He just relayed that information, and the call comes out. Okay, we're going to go there. We're going to play from there. But one of the key things that made Tornado win this game was how they pushed Na'Vi towards the end there. They pushed Na'Vi on, I think it was circle 6. Na'Vi was outside the circle on the east side. And they still pushed that because they knew if we can get that spot, if we can play from there, we can take a lot of control instead of diving into somewhere else where everybody else was doing. And they took that spot, took out Na'Vi. I think this was the fight. Yeah, this was the fight. And then basically had control over the whole game from there.
Yeah, definitely so. Do you feel like, Martin, when you look at Na'Vi's split, obviously they were 2-2 quite late in this game. If they'd been 4-man where that fight went down, could that have gone a lot differently?
Yeah, of course. I think that's pretty obvious. Like, they were in a 2-2 split in phase 4, which is, I think, a phase too late to where you want to kind of get together. But I don't know, maybe they have lost cars and they didn't want to take a chance, or they wanted to gatekeep the teams coming in from the south side. But they should definitely have been 4 guys grouped together at that point. It's very un-Na'Vi-like to actually be in a 2-2 split that late into the game. I feel like if there were 4 guys, they would have won this game with Alia going ham there. They would have won this game. Na'Vi would have won this game if there were 4 guys alive, because they could easily have repelled that that Tornado Energy push there with the cars pulling up from them. But there were only 2 guys alive. They only managed to take like a few damages like off them here and there, and yeah. So they should definitely have been 4. But very good game from 26 points. Damn, guys.
Give us all your points. 26 amazing stuff there. Only 3 teams getting double digits. 10 points for Bystanders, 10 points for Omicron Sports here, and then we trickle on down from there. Big game for them after having a big game prior. Alia ecstatic with that performance that we see there, but this has been, 2,689 damage. This has been kind of the story of Tornado Energy, even when they were hitting their highest highs for us, is that when they did get a win, it was a big win off the back of that.
Yeah, and that's, of course, what we see now as well. But something to take on from yesterday as well was that the first 2 games, the first game, sure, it was kind of okay. They got 5th place with 6 kills. Well, it's pretty good. But all 4 of them there. But yesterday, most of their points Tornado accumulated yesterday came from the Erangel games. So coming in today with this start here on Miramar, that's a really good show, showing that they can do it not just on Erangel but also on Miramar. And that's what we want to see them continue doing, racking up the points on every map possible.
Yeah, definitely so. Important to note as well, Clib here putting in work early in this game, Martin. He's a monster.
Yeah, he's I don't know, it's cold outside. He's Danish, something. No, I wanted to make another joke that would have been completely off the record in terms of you guys understanding it and stuff like that. It would be very Danish, so let's not do that. No, he's been performing very well. We saw him the shots there on Digital Analytics and how he controlled the barrel spray was just nuts. I'm happy he got a slight nerf, so maybe that was an indirect nerf on clip once we start playing that. We're obviously playing an old patch, so the SLR and the barrel is still very, very strong guns. That's why we're seeing all the players run mainly barrels at this point.
Yep, still good, still good. Other teams that have got themselves nice spots during all of this. One team I actually want to talk about in terms of their positioning and with how these circles work out is actually FaZe, Frogs. I feel like we haven't spoken about FaZe much at all over yesterday as well as today, but here we are. They take a position that they normally take when it comes to these circles, but then working with that position in towards the later stages of that game can be a bit difficult, and I guess they kind of got caught by Omicron in this instance.
I mean, they have a really good point to start things off with, taking that kind of position there, because they can go into the city if they need to, if the circle would go into the city, that is. But we know that normally it would go outside, but you're still pretty close to it, so you can still make a move, but you're going to be on the lower part. You don't have the upper hand against the other teams playing from there. And we saw that they got caught out. There was way too many teams. I think we had 4 or 5 teams in the city there. And basically, they were in the middle of everything there. So everyone's just going to be looking at you once you start shooting. That's why we saw them being very passive in the start, trying to take it very slowly and don't want to like go for the shot until they actually had it. It didn't really work out, but I feel like FaZe is playing it really good so far, even though they're very like far down in the leaderboard. They're playing it well, but they're doing a few mistakes that is leading to them costing the game more or less for them.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as we reiterated, even at the start of this day, it's only a few games in. It's not too big a deal. And as you say, they had to flex out of that position because there were so many threats everywhere for them. As you see, Fuzzface getting Pink Pony with some nicely placed grenades on the west side of their position. But also at home, guys, you can join in on the Pick'em challenge that is currently ongoing in-game here for PCS3. Down below me, you can use this code, and the limited time or a limited amount of using this code, you'll get yourself an esports challenge voting coupon. So make sure you go and do that. I wish I was able to be in game right now so that I could go and steal the code, but I don't think that's probably allowed because I'm working on the show. So you guys go and use it over at home. And also in-game, you can use the head-to-head challenge as well to get yourself more esports points. And you combine your Twitch account with your PUBG account to get yourself esports points just by watching. Martin, how many esports points have you gotten so far from watching the other regions? I've got myself 3,000. No, maybe even more than 3,000.
I'm not sure, actually. I don't know. I just know that I'm going to get all the esports points and I'm going to get all the skins. But yeah, it might be a good idea to actually open even our stream in the back, so it's just running as well, you know, so we also get from our own one and not just other regions. What do you think?
I'm gonna check how many I've already got because I'm that interested. 500. Oh, it shows the ones from the other one as well. Oh wait, no, this is all PCS3. Oh my god, I've got loads. This is fantastic. All right, anyway, I didn't realize I had so many. We're just moments out here from our game number 2 for the day. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time to go to Miramar here once again, and then after that we'll be going to the grassy pastures. Sims and Pansy, it's intro time. Let's do it.
I love that. It goes from counting with James. We got to learn he's got a lot of points to intro time. It's a good time. I like this. North to south, Rich. It's all still to be played for, but a couple of teams are going to start breaking ahead here.
Yeah, the previous one is kind of insane. When you look at how many points that Tornado Energy just picked up, before that, it was more than 6 to 16. More than 10 teams in total, they picked up points in one single game. Like, that is setting a statement, and that puts Tornado Energy and Northern Lights really, you know, as a staple frontrunner in this competition. It feels like we reverted back in time. It feels like we've been through as rough events with them. They've seen what they've done wrong. And look, we're only 5 games in. Maybe we've just been a little bit overzealous here, but still, we can get excited. We can get excited out of it. It's
Richard,
what,
how many
4,
games are there? You work it
really
out.
bad at math.
You do some counting. Look, James has taught you how to do it. You can, I believe. While you do 24. That, work it out because I'm curious.
24.
That's not that many.
200 grand, 24 games.
Like, if they look. I hate the excuse of it's a long tournament, but shut up. I don't buy it. The amount of times it comes down to like 5 points, and I'm just like, imagine if you just, I don't know, played a little bit better at the start. Wild. Anyway, we do have a Southern Circle coming in. Tornado Energy will not be having the easiest of entry points to this. Someone like FaZe, Omicron, Na'Vi potentially. Redline. These sort of teams will have the best pick of the litter here. Pretty much slap bang over Los Leones if you take it into account just the land itself.
That's going to be the interesting factor, and it's how many people actually be able to make it in cleanly. With so much watering play, it does limit the playable land. Eventually we are going to pull away from water. You have to take that into consideration at the back of your mind, but really, unless we get a hard shift towards the northwest here, we should still have some water in play. So if I was a betting man, I'd kind of look at this and bank on it going below Los Leones eventually, but there's still that really harsh factor where it could just yeet on up to the north, and it's like, oh god, panic stations, everyone scramble. You'll want to stay away from the coastal roadside, especially with FaZe Clan being down there. Whether or not you know that is a different question altogether. There's, these guys play scrims constantly. They understand people's tendencies and rotational paths and everything else that goes with it. So they have rough ideas and so on and so forth. And with a playing path like we got off the start, it's still lingering quite heavily towards the east. As a note, there will be a very late team into all this one. It's a bit of Sauna boys. They're up at Campo Militar, so it's a bit of a big old trek for them. But time and time again, we see circles like this, maybe leaning a teeny bit more to the west, Kumasera area, somewhere like that. But time and time again, do we see a lot of teams that will always slow and late rotate all the way down the eastern coastal road and then end up just getting a rival. It happens more often than not. They'll get them in the fields towards that southern side, and you'll just have constant barrages and constant battles trying to make it into even Circle 3, Circle 4. So I want to keep an eye on that eastern side of it, depending on where it's actually going to be and depending on what kind of circle we get. Because still, it's still quite littered. When you look at the small amount of road that we do have in play on the coastline, at least, you do have 4 teams already that have dropped on it and will be looting there before other teams even begin to turn up.
By the way, how good were those videos at the start of the show? Can we just talk about that?
The zoomed-in first-person POV is sick.
It's so sick. Like, I love that, and I think it highlights something that obviously we aren't normally party to, is how good certain players' comms are. I mean, Fuzzface, you can see what he brings to FaZe, let alone his, fragging power, but the voice in the server is excellent. The communication skills are just, primo. It's so good. So whoever makes those, great job. Great job. That's what I wanted to say, really.
Montage, doesn't it? When you watch it, it kind of gets you going. It kind of gets you hyped up, and I think that's one thing that we have been noticing. The content's got so much better, but it also goes hand in hand with just how good these players are. I would say I mean, some people might say, oh, well, they've always been good, but I do genuinely think that even with a game this far into its life, we're still seeing superstars reaching the top levels. We're still seeing some new teams be able to make it to the upper echelons, and honestly, the ceiling of these individuals across the globe, not just this, Asia, North America, everywhere, it is phenomenal. It genuinely is, and it's genuinely mind-blowing when you watch some of these players, especially even when they're streaming at home and not necessarily taking it seriously like comp, how they just backhand people in public matches and just brush people aside like they're nothing. It is beyond me. It truly is.
Yeah, it's honestly great to see. And again, I think there's a couple of watch parties that have been going on, and, bits and pieces. The community is still very much alive and kicking for PUBG, which I love to see. Honestly, sometimes, after the show's done, I'll sit there and watch back Break doing a watch party, because it's kind of interesting, because he'll just, mostly focus towards, TSM, potentially, and until they inevitably die, and then he'll switch. But it's really fun just to watch, someone's quite a head screwed on approach to watching some of these teams. And I know Fuzzface has done watch parties before. He'll go back and watch the VODs over and explain some of their reasoning. So do make sure, again, if you love PUBG and maybe you just watch the esports side, get involved and watch some of the streamers too. I'd honestly, Fuzzface's streams, I probably learned more from watching his streams than any, no offense, analyst desk, but specifically about what they see in their intentions and the information they get and how they relay that. Because as I said, it's very easy for us to look at it with a bigger picture, but then, be able to kind of twist it down to these smaller, more micro ways that they play. you see the information that they have given rather than everything we have. It's brilliant to see the communication, so do make sure you check that out if you do get a second, you fancy more PUBG. But for now, speaking of the man, in the buggy, getting the hell out of there. Maybe he had enough of Paige being a little too close by, and you know, I don't blame him. Omikun did pretty well before. TSM, getting a couple of bullets thrown down towards them. I think it's Ents just on the other side, who also want to move around here themselves. They're not happy with their current position. They'd like to move a little further south, potentially, or maybe just trying to posture up with TSM, and they're almost mirroring each other, but it looks like TSM should be able to get away from this.
Said I was worried about that East Coast. It is just a wash with players. TSM, unfortunately, losing the first one. It's Ira to fall. That's a big fragger and a big scalp to be removed from that roster. Ents will be happy with the 3 point, though. No Man's Land clearly just holding back. If it wasn't out the back of a vehicle, clearly holding point and giving information. Max is hanging out the door. Damage is done. In the water you go. Should be undriveable and off the edge. And now we can just basically wait for him to come and take a gasp of breath. Kemba's there as well, just to absolutely confirm the kill.
What year of PUBG is this, Richard?
Well, they do at least have to get a breath now, which is, you know, and well, I said they did before, but okay, never mind. That's how you deal with it. Stick
How cool
a dynamite
did the water
in.
look then? Did you see that? I like sick, like the ripples.
Done.
Nice. God, I've just been watching so many memes. My life has just turned into. I actually can't have a conversation without just like, and here is a meme. Pretty much every team has. Imagine. I was trying to think of another way to, like, you know, we've got the pork chop, the tendy. No, I don't have anything for this, but the current circle position is very interesting. If we bring up the map, whenever we can, it's no big bother, but no one is sitting really above Los Leones. So everyone is banking on this southern side of the circle, that band that runs around the bottom, you know, the kind of hilly side of things where we just saw, you know, likes of FaZe and Omikun and DA. Every single team is down here. No one is in La Bandita. No one is near Picado. No one is, well, the pink ponies are in Los Leones, but no one else is anywhere near there. This is a heavy gamble on that southern side here.
It is, and it's just because we have that ridgeline that runs around all of Los Leones that you were speaking out on the eastern side of it, basically about 2/3 where we know the circle's not going to go, and that's where you will see them just forming up. For Los Leones, you do have one team in there. I mean, if it goes to the north, hell, they'll be super, super lucky, but I just don't think it will at this point. It's either you've got two positions where teams are setting up. Basically, cut it down the middle through Los Leones and pick your side. Hard shift to the west, hard shift to the east. In theory, if you're a betting man, and it absolutely proves me completely wrong altogether, and it slams straight into the middle. This is going to be a massacre, because how do you fit 62 players into that?
Well, you got Los Leones, but no one wants to do it, right? So there is that.
Yeah,
now,
if you want to go late game and just scrap for it, you can do that.
Exactly. Now, beyond that, though, let's kind of take into account what this means. The southern side should cut off because there's water. Traditionally, it doesn't like to go to Los Leones, so you look towards the far east and the far west extremities. What has a larger portion of territory? I'd say, actually, the kind of western side, if I'm honest. However, the teams know all the divots and ditches it's likely to go to in the most playable areas. Liquid are on the go. They're going right past FaZe. They're heading very far south. This is a southern rotation. Gustav's going to give them a little parting gift, see if he can get any shots through. None really landed. Uber next up, but he's going to go for the vehicle instead. So they will get pretty far ahead. Wait, are they pulling into this one? They are. That's interesting. So Uber might have to evacuate, and he is. He's given this one up. Maybe the rest of FaZe going, hey, we can't hold this anymore. It was nice for a little while, but they got the tempo, the pacing right, and they were able to pull away with Ivan, aka Uber, or Uber, aka Ivan, back towards the rest of the gang. Now, we are seeing TSM in a bit of a spot of bother. WS and DA, very southern coast, but this is going to be a hard circle to predict. I'm wondering who gets the drop on this one.
Yeah, it is Circle 3, excuse me, phase 2 at the moment. When we go to Circle 3, if there is still water in it, it'll become a tiny bit easier, because then moving into 4, we have some sort of prediction. But as you say, from this one onwards, from going into 3, if it doesn't have that water element, then really it becomes that much more difficult. We can look at tendencies. We can look at, you know, positions that we've seen quite common. The western side would be a bit of a safety net if you were kind of looking at it from that perspective. But honestly, it's still anyone's game. Will hold here because Chris has made contact. 2 players coming up and over the hill. That's a very easy frag for Quepta. There is a little bit of a fire in the distance and one from the backside as well. Vard also getting involved with Rustam Ma. You can see it down below. Picture in picture, 2 different fights, 2 different areas. Jempty onto Thunderloss, so third party comes in and claims a victim. Shift W is eliminated. Rustam Ma gone, and so is Squeaky, burnt away, unfortunately, by his own molly. But a nade from Vard does catastrophic damage to Ents on a different side.
Yeah, TSM going to need to keep their heads down for a little while, though. They've taken a whole lot of attention. And there you can see the nade that did so well. There was even a second one. If the first didn't do it, the mollies would. It was a full commitment of clearing that out. We don't want to share. We don't want anyone else around here. Is there anyone else close by? I don't believe so. Redliner popping off a couple of shots, but it's more, you know, just showing presence more than anything. It's not really going to find too much of a target, I don't believe. And if I'm honest, I currently like the positions like of Northern Lights, Tornado Energy, Na'Vi, and Uber has. That's a disconnect. Yeah, yeet for old Diggory. But it does mean the Ents stay alive, which there's something to be said when the reason that you're still in the circle is because of a disconnected player. We'll come back to that another time. For now, we focus on what's in front of us. WS and DA getting very close by.
Yeah, but it looks like WS are actually going to opt to completely move out of this one. The Northern shift. We have one super hard shift all the way up to the top. I mean, there's potential for it. Hell, if it does another, it would need to be a very no, because the backside of Los Leones we just don't get with the mountainsides. It just doesn't. I can't see it going Los Leones. Like, you need double, treble hard shifts to get into the center near the market area where we've been before. I just don't foresee that happening. Misa onto Thunderloss. That's what we do see happening as Quepter answers back, but it instantly responding on Forever's there as well. So trades back and forth here between the Sauna Boys and ETG. Forever last man standing, and as you say, Phase in the distance will also be moving, so keep an eye on the kill feed in case you see Omakan kicking in. Lo and behold, Page is the first one to find him. Player goes down, solidifies him, and puts 8C in the ground. Forever is rotating slowly but surely. Purple's Face and the rest of the boys, they need to push in.
Yeah, they've got Liquid on their back. They can't slow down at all. FaZe are in between a rock and a hard place, and they found kind of the negative side of both of it. They've been caught here. They tried to move in, and it wasn't a bad plan, but they got caught off by a couple of seconds. The slightest bits of timing hindering approach. Gustav does well on one, instantly traded out though. Big pick up there, big trade. Vazku can then overcommit towards this side if needed, in case maybe Liquid are feeling a little fruity. They weren't. They stay where they are. They've got decent enough territory. They can punish the likes of Na'Vi, but then look towards Northern Lights and Tornado Energy. These two big teams in very big positions and quite open. Somehow Tornado Energy is still doing well, but Tulin's just lost his life for this, and there you see a third party, Nail Up, going to join in. And this is Northern Lights looking a little rough around the edges. They're not going to be pleased with this.
Not at all. Not at all. Redline have hung back for a while, and they've got the central side of the map. They do have height advantage as well, but with only one frag in the bag, it's been quite a quiet game for them. They've stayed their feet. They paid for it with position, don't get me wrong. They've been granted that. I have to be aware of Pink Pony's presence. I'm hoping with the height advantage they've been able to gather that info and feed it back to the rest of the roster. They're still shooting into TSM, which you can see the Tracer coming out. Nail Up's position also noted by Omakan, who are just down the hill where they've eliminated FaZe Clan.
Just realized the compound I was thinking Redliner in is actually the one just south of TSM. That's the one we've had a couple of endings towards, so I do wonder if it eventually does go that way. I want to see if there's hard shifts, honestly. I feel like you're right. It feels like it shouldn't be Los Leones, right? So, where did it go? Oof.
I'm just thinking through your mind. Like, you've got the... To be fair, where TSM and Sauna Boys are, it's not a bad edge. It's because you've got, like, that mountain in the middle of it. It can kind of push anywhere, really. It's probably going to double hard shift onto us and give us a really wacky position, unless it just keeps centralizing up and then throws it into the wind at the very end. I do not know, but here we go. It's going down. Okay, there you go. We kind of said potentially more towards Puerto Paraiso, and there it is. So TSM, I would suggest, have to get out of here now, Lauren. They're in a really good spot, but they have to find a compound because there's going to be so many teams that come towards them, but they've got to be quick because you can already see WS are eyeing it up.
Yeah, but that compound is very hard to crash. There's a little lip to it as well, so you actually get a decent amount of fight on the way through. Now, they've got up to the gate, but we'll see if WS can withstand, because the Sauna Boys, now keep in mind this goes uphill. So TSM currently a little bit higher ground, the Sauna Boys will be a little bit lower ground, and WS will be very vulnerable, so they have to keep pushing. Exactly, there's that lip you can see, which forces the fight. Now, TSM have been quite quiet about this. Winstreak don't have any clue until now. Suddenly, a horrible surprise. But Miraku's going to instantly flush Kemba, but he's still got his buddy knocked. A quick molly comes in to slow down the push to hopefully maybe buy time for a revive, or at least do something about this. They need to get these boys out of their building. A smoke towards the left side, isolating one. Maxi has gone down to Fex. Miraku is trying to, one, save Vard, and two, keep the rest away from the door. Offstring barely alive. Does keep himself standing for now.
I thought he puts the smoke nade in there to try and flush him out, thinking it's a grenade. So the bait nade's there. They're lining up. Unfortunately, at TSM, they don't realize he's outside looking through all the metal netting and neshing from the smoke. One of them appears, hits the deck on the drop shop as well. The Wanderer. He smacks Vex and Miraku and eliminates TSM. That is a cracking little job. Cheeky drop at the end to solidify it.
Yeah, the Sauna Boys are going to push this as well. Keep that in mind. Once you see that kill feed kicking through, it's going to be that, because... What? How the hell did the Wanderer just do that? That compound was such a high priority, and now suddenly it's just kind of left as a graveyard for TSM. But now we have the Pink Ponies pushing towards Redline. You're going to have Tornado Energy pushing into the remainder of Northern Lights and Omicron. Liquid's still okay, but not very central. Now DA just kind of sitting on the cusp of the southern side. Everyone trying to hold on to the very limited amounts of cover. Yes, the terrain will allow a bit of play here, but keep in mind, people will be able to see people. There's good lines of sight on this one. It's very hard to stay safe.
DA will commit to just see it on the map. If Liquid doesn't find orange, then potentially DA does. The blue will eventually force the situation. Another situation that's backbuilding I need to make you all aware of is Tornado Energy. They're working down a valley, a little tributary across the hillside, but I don't think they realize Northern Lights are spreading a 1-1 scenario. Okay, so they're underneath at least and hiding away, and for good measure, given that they're in basically backup mode at the moment and just playing for their lives. Omicron in front of Tornado Energy. 2-2 again situation, finally. The player from Na'Vi is spotted. Presence noted, so if DA can remove orange, it's one less thing to worry about. Liquid definitely given the information. Smash goes a little bit deeper for DA. Try and figure out what the plan is and what the play is. I wonder if Orange just kind of stays here and maybe takes the fight up against Liquid, because there's not really a great deal else he can do. If he runs in on the road, he's buggered, to be fair.
The little Orange just trying to stay alive. It's just full DA mode, isn't it, for Orange? Just try and live and see if you can snake in. There's a lot of teams still left. You've got 12 teams still in this. It's pretty mad. So now the compound that TSM was fighting over with WS is still in. Omicron's is still in. The space between is not unplayable, but it's tricky. But currently we only have probably, you'd argue, 4 teams out of the 12 in the circle, and that's barely. Jeems and Ibby are just over the edge, so you can see a big fight here in the north. You can't really avoid each other. If you do, let's say the Pink Ponies don't want to try and take the fight on Redline, which is fair, you're playing against hard cover, you're going to roll down the hill in towards Tornado Energy or Omicron, or maybe even the Bystanders. So no easy way forward, and sadly the little Orange gets made into squash. Clib. Gonna find that. Clib's, again, still having a great performance. Good to see the man who got picked up by Liquid finding very good form.
Ali is doing his little flex again, going off on his own to try and gather some information and see what's in front of him. Would at this point assume that he realizes Omicron, where they are and how they're set up. I'm just wondering if someone tries to take advantage of the situation and realizes that they're in a 2-2 split. It becomes that much more harder with Pink Pony arriving late game. But with Alia's position, they're all on vehicles, so you will get the audible cue and you will have... I would have thought you should at least have some kind of info at that distance. Be able to see what's going on. It depends how close they actually came to it. Redline, I said they've been quite quiet throughout this one. Diggory's finally back with us. Hello, welcome to the land of living, my dude. And actually,
I mean, he's done quite well.
The game by doing so, yeah. Still in it.
Well played, Diggory. Proud of you.
Redline. Time to make a move and time to go. You've spent some time. It's nice and been quiet thus far. The Sauna Boys have got nades, though. They'll realize that they're completely opposite them. If they know the the lay of the land on the opposing side. Maybe they get an absolutely supreme nade, which would do catastrophic damage. Bystanders, again, gathering info, garnering, and just preparing to move. They're inside the circle, so it'd be really good if they could remove Redline from this position, but they know they can't advance forward, because if they do, that then opens them up for the possibility of being shot by the Sauna boys. Pink Pony's just... it's you know, slowly but surely worming their way into this one, but really, I don't foresee them getting high kills, high points in this. It's just clutching at straws, really, in this type of circle for them.
Yes, they were the slowest to leave that northern side, but it's a hard circle. There isn't much available. Now, the problem for these two ditches is that it's extremely nadeable. The amount of times we see just nade after nade being thrown in, if someone still has that many nades, well, you're going to have problems. Now, old Archie's lost his life, but the rest of the Pink Pony's going to try and make a mad dash for it, maybe join up with Vampire or find their own little ditch somewhere. Now, this does prove a problem for a couple of teams. DA's going to need to move Northern Lights, Tornado Energy, Bystanders, and with Liquid having to move forward, they do have Jeems in the circle, so slightly easier, but not the easiest. I want to see how Tornado Energy approach this. They are a good team, and they've been working out some of these problems, some of these conundrums, but against them is Omicron, who have the primest of positions, and here are those classic nades that are really hard to avoid in these ditches.
Depends how much more utility A they have and B they want to use on it.
Exactly.
If they know they've not been picking up knocks, then maybe they don't have the full information. That's why Redline is so spread out in a line. Smokes there, so it will occlude them. Eventually, Pink Ponies will be revealing their position as they dissipate. Yellow and Beam are going for a different angle of approach. Unless they're going to use tank vehicles, and maybe... I didn't realize it took them behind there, but they have. They're actually just going to blast it through. I think they are. Unfortunately, that's not the place to be, my dudes. The nades will come through. The first knock is there. Flammy is trying to do whatever the hell he can, but the utility is just too devastating. Redline are going to open up onto this with full force.
Yeah, these nades are sick. They're just perfectly trickling through. Nailup's going to claim all of this, and that's great for him. He'll be happy with this. Tornado Energy now are making their move. I want to see how this goes for them, because T-Bone just went down, so this could be the go symbol. This could be the perfect chance for them to strike. You see Beamy doing well, trying to stay alive, but Redline had players. They had so many additional players they could sit there and wait with, but now Tornado Energy at the doorsteps. It's Vazku to greet them with a smile, but he needs more than that. He's got to find the rest of these players, but he's dancing between the objects. You can see now Northern Lights going to chime in from the other side. What remains at the very least is Spyro and Perfectix. The only two still standing as Melman and now Alia have to turn attention. They have to put some notice towards the Northern Lights coming their way. I don't know if they can live through this. Vazku, yes, he is out on a limb, but he's being the biggest nuisance in the world.
Even if Northern Lights can't live through this, they've done enough damage to Tornado Energy to ruin their game, and it only continues. Alia, 1 versus 2, Perfectix and Spyro. Smokes are there, so at least he can worm his way through. Both flashbangs will go down, make that 3.
These flashes!
4, keep going, there's another one, 5! Just spamming them continuously to keep them at bay and maybe be a nuisance. Looks away.
I mean,
guns up and ready, remember, being laid down. It does cause a problem as they will come out of the smoke. Tags are there, but no frag just yet. They could just wrap around him here quite comfortably, Lauren.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone has line of sight on it. Maybe the Pink Ponies could. I think it might be downhill, actually, so they could be okay. It's not ideal. But Northern Lights were never in an ideal position. And Diggory does go down, but, I mean, he did pretty well for themselves. Omicron were dealing with 2 fights on 2 fronts. Liquid on one side, and obviously that Tornado Energy and Northern Lights battle on the other. But Liquid have made it slightly closer, but they will be forced to get into this fight now. There's no way to avoid it. You could try and go low ground, that will open you up to DA, and they'll know that there's someone down that hillside. Now, the Wanderer, you know, out on his own, after that work against TSM, hell, he can take a break. He can, you know, he had to calm down for a bit. Because you got the rest of the Turkish squad just absolutely flooding him. Page trying to get those vert nades going back and forth. If they get a free knock on that, they'll go. Nice work from Spyro, and it looks like Northern Lights are refusing to die here. They're still powering forward.
Yeah, by hook or by crook, they are finding a way into this. As you say, Alia is a bit of a problem still. Tiny gap if they can find this one near. Gemty's working around with the molly. Clearly been given the information of where they're going to be reviving. If it actually lands and it strikes, it could be devastating. Has it gone too far? It has once again. They get themselves back on the feet. Flashbang straight up in the air, vertical. If it lands on the other side, at least will just be a nuisance so they can try and work their way around on this. Red line working through the smoke to cross the road, but unfortunately so many teams are there. Actually, for a second, I know it's pulled straight back instantly, but the idea was there to try and pull Page's vision away so they can make the cross, but it's not going to be. First one will fall, red line is eliminated, and the strike back is instantly there. Page shuts it down.
And as quiet as they may have been, DA are in a good position if they clear the... Excuse me, there's an imposter among us. The Wanderer just vented. He's somehow been unspotted here. What? The Snake, look at this guy! Against DA, they don't fall for their own tricks. What?
They actually walked on him? Well, there you go. That's one way to create yourself you create yourself a ghillie suit right there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and DA have just pushed forward. They have no idea, obviously. They are completely clueless. And honestly, I don't think Wanderer's going to get involved until he has to, which is going to be a long time from now. The Sauna Boys now need to deal with DA, but there's a ridgeline that separates the two, so it's quite easy for them to fall back into this, but it will kind of push more of a fight pretty soon. You're going to see that circle again continue to close towards the southern side, which puts teams like the Sauna Boys, like the Pink Ponies, Omicron, everyone out of position now.
Edge trying to find the last player here. Give them double digit on frags. There's not many places he can be, to be fair. Time checking the bushes, but it's the ghost from Christmas past. Alia has been there for so long, and he's taken down 2 members back to back. How is he doing this? How is he allowed to stay alive for this damn long? Marco finally in for the rest of DA. They eliminate the Sauna Boys, and they can keep on going. They keep the top side of the circle to be theirs, with Pink Pony having all the work to do outside of it. Maybe they can just bottleneck them on the other side of the road and keep a nice bit of space. Perfectix will be pushed out. And if Alia does this and just... That'll be, what, 4 players in a row that he's eliminated if he somehow gets this? What has this man been drinking today? How are you even doing this still?
Or flush gem tea.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know how he's got this far. Perfectix looks scared as well. This is the mad part. Perfectix has the advantage... In a weird way. He's got to make the push on this now. The nade comes out. Surely Alia's... How is Alia alive? Oh my god, someone. They finally put him down. Now keep in mind, DA have been quietly doing incredibly well here. This is a great game for them. Now the Wanderer is very lucky to be alive. And now here comes the game of find the imposter. We're playing Among Us, ladies and gents. Welcome. And I wonder when they notice that the Wanderer hasn't been doing tasks. The meter's not been going up. It's a little interesting. And just, you know, oh, I forgot to unmute during the, you know, voting him out portion. No. The Wanderer's been up to no good. He's hiding in the low ground, and DA have that horrible sinking feeling of, did we run past someone? Maybe we are. Oh, we need to check, boys and girls. There shouldn't be a problem. This should be a good DA victory. This should be clean. There should not be any threats. 3'd up, geared up, no worries. The Wanderer, what can you do? Absolutely nothing. Metralis is going to do it, and DA 10 kills and first place. That is really not bad at all.
Yeah, that's a decent showing. They came into this one in 4th position. It just sticks them 20 points on the board. Like, you know, it's another team that's garnered 2 wins throughout the 2 days thus far. DA are looking good. It's looking like a really resounding roster where there's just so much, and again, we spoke about yesterday, you could see in the background, the guys are on land together, so there's going to be a huge difference when it comes to the teamwork. You've been able to work with teams, look over each other's shoulders, see their positions, get the information back. But still, it's looking like a fortified unit. And what's kind of most scaring me a little bit, Lauren, you touched on it in the previous game, is we've not seen that shining star, that huge performance come out of Code Marco yet. Like, when he switches on, when that big performance comes and those big fragging numbers follow, this is when DA really starts to shoot up the leaderboard.
Yeah, and I mean, they're already going to be pretty close to the top here. Tornado Energy with another good game. They got a good couple of points, decent standing. So again, I want to see how the leaderboard looks, but for me, I want to see where DA currently reside. Good work here on Miramar. Obviously, that's Miramar done now, but let's head back to Des to wrap this one up and give you an idea of how this kind of whole scenario is going to play out.
Imagine 3 teams winning 6 games. That's where we're at right now. It's 2 wins for DA, 2 wins for Northern Lights, and 2 wins for Tornado Energy. so far. Welcome back across the 6 games that we've played so far here. D8 with another one on the board. Avenger, Froz joining me. Froz, that was yep, very simple for D8 towards the end, to be fair.
Very clean from DA, and it's kind of not what we expected from them, how they play the game out. Because normally we do see them go very center and grouping up and playing from there. But this time around, we saw them going on the south side pretty early on, and they were playing the edge for a very long time, all up until Circle 7. They were just playing the edge, making sure, okay, our back is clear, we'll move in step by step. And towards the end there, they just dominated everyone, just took control over everything, and closed down the game easily. They did miss Wanderer though, and that could have cost them the game, but it didn't.
Yeah, the kicker is I suppose they could have killed him earlier and then it would have been even easier, but that is by the by here. Martin, what do you make of the game? Is he muted?
He might be muted.
Oh, that's the first time I've been muted.
Okay, go.
I even called mute on mute, but no, I actually really loved how well they're able to get into a good spot and take control of the south, because this terrain in the south and kind of maintaining that area is so important. Like the reason for being that is like when if you have to cross the road late game, you're gonna be having such a hard time because it's so flat, it's so open. There's so many other teams that can kind of hold you out. I also love the way that Redline, they're able to kind of deny bystanders this area here and keep this area and nail up getting 4 kills on that one. So that's great.
I figured Redline was going to be a victim of bystanders when it came to that situation for us. However, bystanders decided to go a little bit more south, didn't quite want to bombard Redline where they were. But do you think they could have made more of that? What are your thoughts?
100%. That should have been bystanders taking out Redline instead. What we saw was that bystanders, they were playing edge, of course, coming in from the northeast, while we had Redline coming in from northwest instead. Now, bystanders, they had the upper hand against Redline. They threw 1 nade against Redline. They didn't take it, it didn't hit anything. And then they stopped. And from there, they took a position where Redline would get the overhand on them and be able to just nade them out. And they just kept going one by one into those nades for some reason. And that just shouldn't happen at all. They should have taken a fight with Redline from where they were, throw all those utilities. They basically didn't fight any fights before that, so they were probably pretty stacked on the utilities. We didn't really see that, but I presume they were at least.
Well, here's the points coming on in, 9th through 16th. Not too many points down here. Sauna boys, big split up towards the north, getting down here, but only getting themselves a 4-pointer here after surviving long into the game. And as if yesterday wasn't Christmas enough for me, today's double Christmas. Digital Athletics get themselves 20 points. Tornado Energy, 8 points on the board for them after surviving quite long into the game. But Omakan, another double-digit game coming in for them, Martin.
Yeah, I want to call them the princes of consistency so far. Like, they're really stepping up the game in terms of always getting a high amount of kills, always getting into the placement points as well. And like, we're gonna see wins from them as well. Remember that they keep having these consistent games, but they're gonna be having wins down the line as well. So I'm really expecting them to see them up there in the top 2,000 damage for them as well.
Very specifically 2077, one of my favorite numbers coming up here, so well done Omakan Sport. 2077, one of my favorite numbers coming up here, so well done Omakan Sport. And doing very nicely for themselves.
That was nice. I like that.
Do
one.
it.
Yeah, I get that.
Page side at the top here. Nail Up actually having a little bit of show up here for Redline. I do feel, again, Froz, that could have been, pushed aside by bystanders, but, Nail Up's able to fully take advantage of that. And it's great to see Redline, getting some numbers in here.
Yeah, I really like that. What we saw from Redline yesterday, as we talked about, was that they would go on Circle 1 and just crash anything, basically, taking those kind of fights. They learned their mistakes from yesterday, feeling, hey, we're not getting enough points. And now, today, they're playing it a little bit more passively towards the start and going for kind of the normal meta and play kind of the late game instead if possible.
All right, well, we have our interview ready here after our Miramar games have concluded, and let's talk to number 1 in the lobby right now. It's Quizzy from Tornado Energy. Hello, Quizzy. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. What's up? How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. And so far, so good for your team. So I suppose I'll ask the general question coming into the tournament. How were you guys anticipating doing? Obviously, PCS2 didn't go as well as PCS1, but so far, it's going very well here in number 3.
I guess, as you know, like the second PKS was a bad for us. I think it's a failure because like 10 plays after that PKS is what we had, like top 2, both of them. I think we just were looking at the map, just trying to speak with each other, and I think it's just a schedule. Like, you know, it's a lot of tournaments these days, and probably after that we didn't qualify for the DreamHack, so we missed that tournament. That just pushed us up a little bit, as we didn't play a lot competitive games because we missed the finals of the DreamHack, and we understood that we have to change something, get the new strats and as well something new, because team know how to play with us after the second PKS. We understood that.
All right, Martin, question?
Yeah, I want to ask, did you guys see something specifically happening in the group stage here that that you guys can kind of take advantage of? Because it feels like you guys have really turned it up coming from the group stage into the grand finals. Did you guys see kind of what can you say, a passive meta that you guys can take advantage of because you guys have so much firepower?
Yeah, I mean, when we played the group stage, we of course didn't show all the power. Like, we just need to qualify. You don't need to be on the first place at the group stage, of course. It's obvious. You have to just only qualify, and you're just playing the game and just watching the map, what the team are doing, what the teams are doing actually. Like, the only one team that we couldn't read was TSM because of like UMP playstyle, and so we understood they're just having fun and so on. And just after the group stage, we just understood that this PKS is gonna be super slow. I mean, because a lot of teams are playing really patient, because a lot of new teams joined up as well, and they're just patient, and it's just giving us some point of advantage, I guess. Like, if you are like have 4 good individual players and they're playing as a team, I think it's like a superpower or something.
All right, Frost?
You were talking about you guys coming up with new strategies. Now, I don't want you to leak that, of course, to all the other teams if they would listen into this. But I want you, if you can talk a little bit more about that, if you have any examples of what kind of stuff you guys have been working on in terms of strategies. Would it be rotations, comms, where to play from? Just go a little bit deeper. It's always interesting to hear.
No, I mean, these stats are not new. Like, as you saw the first Miramar game with that Alia pull up with the motorcycle, we just, you know, just having some strats from the other teams. Like, this is NLT basic strats. Like, you saw Batulin always do that, and we just learn how to do it as well, and how we can use it with our circles as well. And you're just picking up some metas or strats from other teams, and you can just make it work in your play style, just taking something that is really needs, like what you really need, and that's how we like build the new strategies.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you very much for the interview. Do you have any shout-outs before we let you go?
I just want to say happy birthday to Melman, because our captain has a birthday today, so write something in the chat.
Happy birthday.
And just want to say thank you for all supporters as well, who are supporting us on the EU translations, on the CIS, I guess, as well. Maybe someone watching the EU translation from the CIS. And just keep it up, boys.
All right, well, good luck in your future games, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, boys. See ya.
Thank you.
See ya. Fantastic stuff. Quizzy joining us from Tornado Energy. Brilliant to hear from him, and actually really good answers as well. So far, they lead the lobby currently when it comes to the overall standings. So after that round number 5 with 16 kills, that was propelling themselves very highly. Regardless of what would have probably happened in this previous game, it was going to be difficult for anybody to catch up with them. Let's take a look at it. 71 points right now, up in number 1. Digital Athletics, 56 points. Northern Lights, 52. Every single one of those teams in the top 3 has currently dominated the chicken dinners. Nobody has been allowed any just yet here, Froz, but Omakin has been keeping up very nicely.
Omakin's keeping up really good there, and it comes down to the kills. If you look at it, they have 36 kills, only 14 placement points, but that's kind of their playstyle, right? We see them all the time kind of going for these kind of kills and making sure that they are always getting the points no matter what happens in the game. If they go out on 16th place, they're gonna make sure that they have those points so it's not a bad game no matter what happens. And that's what you like from them. And that's how you know that when they get that win, when they eventually get that win, it's going to be a big win, and it's going to be a very high push for them up on the leaderboard with it.
Definitely so, definitely. The other teams beyond that, though, got a little bit of catching up to do, but there's still plenty of time. Anything that jumps out to you here, Martin, before we leave the standings behind?
Yeah, remember how I was saying, yeah, it's only 4 games played, all can happen, like people can catch up. Never mind, there's a separation happening, you know. Our top is really pulling ahead here. Our top 4 specifically with Omicron and 50 leading down 14 points ahead of Shift W and Bystanders. I didn't expect it to be this fast, guys. We played 2 games so far. I honestly didn't expect it to be happening this quick and so soon. And with that, like with the amount of teams on the right side of the leaderboard, that is, you know, big names, teams we expect to be performing and so forth. I didn't expect that separation to happen. Like you could literally have turned this around and like 180 degrees, and it would have been, oh, okay, yeah, that could happen as well. So kind of unexpected, but also very nice to see from the teams that are able to perform at this level.
Yeah, very good indeed. What a good 2 games we've had here so far. And of course, now we're going to be moving on to Erangel, the grassy pastures, for our next 2 as well. And this is actually the place where you previously had yesterday, Froz, teams like Tornado Energy and Northern Lights as well, getting themselves the victories. So if these teams continue to put up these kinds of numbers, that separation that Martin was talking about might get a little bit more severe.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be rough for the other teams to try to catch up, and this is the finals after all. You don't have too much time to spend to linger around and just wait until the end. We only play 4 games per day, so you don't really have any games to throw away either per day. It's very easy to like have a bad start, and when you have the bad start, it's kind of hard to come back sometime. But the experienced teams, they know this, they know that they can come back as well, and they know how to do it. So hopefully we'll see a little turnaround from some of those teams now.
Yeah, for sure. One of the teams that I'm always looking out for when it comes to Erangel, especially after they had that kind of quadro win situation, is Na'Vi, Martin. They just, you know, they've got themselves a 2nd place yesterday, at the end of yesterday, with 11 kills. And there was always the potential in my mind when I'm thinking about Na'Vi that can be converted into a 1st place. So what are you thinking?
I think so too. Like you can just look at some of the days where they had, you know, 3 wins in a day. They like pulled ahead and had some insane performances. So I'm not too worried about them. One thing I'm worried about is that a potential change in their game plan, where they're staying, for example, as we saw in the first game, where we're seeing them stay split in 4 circles. It could have been just, you know, missing a car, not having a 2-seater so they can get down there easily, or it could be greed that ended up costing them a potential, you know, 20+ point game from them. You saw how to energy they were able to pick up so many points from that. So yeah, I'm curious to see what that leads us and where it's going to go and continue.
Yeah, it really depends, I suppose, when it comes to the circles. If you're gonna be able to retain those cars, if you're in some kind of compound, you've got cover for those cars, Patrick, and that obviously lends itself very nicely to some situations just for game longevity. I suppose some of the positions on like Erangel Remastered, how it is like south of Yas Fields, for example, with craters having been added a long time ago now, but there's so many good opportunities on Erangel now to be able to protect things like vehicles and then just keep on transitioning from there.
Well, yeah, you see a lot of teams, they will go for the vehicles first, trying to get those, secure those before you go towards your loot location. But it also comes down to where the plane path is, where your loot location is. A good example, for example, would be Yasnaya, right? We have Pink Pony, you have Omaken, both going for Yasnaya. We saw them clashing in a little bit yesterday in both of the games. And they both want to have the same cars that is spawning over there. Now you want to secure those, but if you go for those straight away, what you might be losing up is your looting spot, because the other team is going for that and they're going to grab the guns while you grab the vehicles. Now then you need to go somewhere else to loot. So it's a give and take sometimes. What do you go for? What do you want to miss out on? What is actually possible for us in this game? But currently, for example, Omaken is on a third, no, not third place. Yeah. Or what's it, third, fourth? Somewhere around there, towards the top. 50 even, maybe. And then you have, of course, Pink Pony being more Pink Pony being more towards the middle of the leaderboard. So Omega has a little bit of the upper hand right now. They can throw a little bit more points out there without anything happening to them because they can catch up. While Pink Pony, they're going to have a harder time if they keep on doing it.
That was a good example, for example. After you, I don't know why that's stuck in my mind so much.
You know
But
what
anyway.
took in my mind as well? Is when you were asking Quizzy, do you have any examples of that? And I was hoping for him to go, yes, we have example.
We do have one of them, yes. That would be the perfect answer, the perfect response. And also what is perfect as well is the Pick'em Challenge right now for PCS3. You can use this code below me and get yourself a esports voting coupon for the challenge if you're quick enough, because it has a limited amount of uses. So make sure to go and convert that code to Coupon Carnage. And also, that was weird. Also, you can... I don't know, I sound like a weird car salesman. Also, you in-game can go and join the head-to-head challenge that's going on right now. You can pick which team you think is going to be trumping the other one. I shouldn't be using that word. He's gone. And yeah, it's going to be a great old time here for PCS3. So make sure to go and do that. The skins are fantastic as well. You can get more coupons in-game even by purchasing some of those extra skins. We're just a few moments out before we get into Erangel. Make sure to go follow our socials here. And Martin, before we get into Erangel, what do you want? I want more Gatka hot drops. That's what I want.
Yeah, I want to see that as well. I want to see what happens there. Who wins? Who backs out? Who is the better team? Who is the younger players? You know, like this. That's what I want to see. So I want to see if that's a story that continues. But then again, it's something that you want to learn from. There could be better places on the map that is currently open, or they could box the MM. You like back in the day, Tempo Storm. If anybody was messing around with the Gatka split, they would pop. Like they would drop around them in a box, and then they would pop every single tire on their cars, and then just leave and throw that one game just to mess with them, just to say, guys, this is our area. Do not take any of our cars.
Tempo strat.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I remember that happening a few times in Pachinki as well, way back in the day, which was kind of cool. But people would drop on the sides and then kind of close in on them, and that was pretty awesome to see as well. But anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is now time to get ready for our penultimate game of the day. We're going to Erangel here. It's game number 7 of the grand final here for PCS3, as Sims and Pansy are going to be bringing you all of the action.
We'll do our very best for you, James. And yeah, we've even got Choco Taco, you know, turning up in chat. We've got all the gang rolling out. We love to see it. And yeah, we're going to be starting off in towards the east, heading pretty much bang over Gatka too. So we might get an answer to the question of, do we get the hot drops? Do we have any of the good fun times in front of us? Faye's going to get a comfortable start here, of course, but plenty more to be seen. And, you know, some newer names towards the top of the board here, Rich. I'm happy to be seeing it.
Yeah, it's good, and it's kind of reminiscent of what we kind of wanted. It's not what we expected; it's what we wanted. We want to see the skills that pay the bills from the teams that we know have more than capabilities to be able to do that. But most importantly, it's seeing teams that have kind of fallen at the wayside in more recent PCS performances. And honestly, like if it's a return to form, no better time to do it than the very final event of the year. They said this could be a very, very special one. And it needs to go out with a bang. And it's, I mean, for some teams, it could just be that. I can see Sauna Boys and ETG, they're having a little look around. We saw some scuffling yesterday at Gatka. Could we potentially see the same again with Youth all the way on the other side behind the chopsticks? I very much doubt it now. Quepton forever. Just at the houses above them, but it's still quite close proximity and something that we definitely need to keep in the back of our minds. Circle hits, and oh boy, does it go into the water. A fair whack in play. And we are split between the river. That kind of cuts off Sosnovka Island. So it's something that it shouldn't play a huge factor, but we certainly can't rule it out. We've seen more weirder and wonderful things in PUBG in the past. Fair's home territory, Pink Pony, inside Milter Town. That's a rock and a hard place. You've got Shift W to your left-hand side, face to the right, and then red line above you if you want to try and take a northern rotate. Not that you should be going too far at this point with that circle anyway. But you know, for everyone else who's basically in and around Milter area as a bigger area, I think you're in a good position at this point.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of where I'd specifically like the end to be. I do like Milter endings. Lumber, always fun. Shelter I used to love, but we don't normally get like the top and bottom of Shelter. It doesn't really go. Do you know what? Send it to the island. Just do like the mad hard shifts that shouldn't happen. Send it over there.
Something awful.
That'd bring me joy.
Give us this.
Yeah, just here, right here. Like somehow it ends up here. I'd love that. Oh, glorious,
You
glorious
need
times.
what?
Very unlikely.
Probably double hard shift to just get it over the water's edge, maybe.
Yeah, it'd have to be mad. Like it's not. It's probably not going to happen, but you know, I can dream. A prison ending? No, I don't like prison endings because everyone ends up on the rocks around it. Trying to think through. Where's your favorite ending so far, at least within this circle, that we could potentially have? Including hard shifts, like mad hard shifts.
I'll be honest, I really enjoyed the relay station. You know, the little mini Milter power, if you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's good because it's quite hard to defend with it being so big and... I don't think exposed the right word because you can certainly sit towards the southern side of it and have the little plateau all the way up top, but it's so hard to defend and people can just crash and get inside. But when teams do it right and they hold on for so damn long, your communication has to be on point. You have to have every single angle covered. You have to have your head constantly on a swivel. You have to be fighting people off against the walls. And for teams that do successfully take control of it and defend it until the very latter stages of the game, I think it takes balls of steel and good communication to do it, to be fair. And I'm always a big fan of seeing them come into play.
Okay, we can see. Tornado Energy, quick to move. No, I'm with you. Quick to move here. Tornado Energy, I'm wondering where they go. They get quite an early choice. They might, I don't know, actually no. They could get the little compounds, the 2 buildings, just slightly further east of their current position. They're maybe scouting right now. And I love the fact that they discussed, you know, they definitely looked over what worked for Northern Lights. And we were discussing that. I very much remember discussing with you. And someone like Northern Lights comes in and not necessarily shakes up a whole lobby, but they do things right. You know, when do people start paying attention to them and having to take that on board, and it doesn't have that same shine to it? You know, it's not this new and unknown. It gets worked out. And I love the fact that even other teams are going, oh, we like what they did, or how they potentially scout and how they potentially play with this, X, Y, and Z. We implemented it. So, you know what I mean? It's this really nice evolution of the kind of meta that comes with even just how teams approach certain scenarios. Northern Lights definitely causing a little bit of a stir when they initially kind of sprung to the forefront, but we do see what could be a stir happening over on the bridge. Northern Lights could be heading across, and on the other side, it's Chris already there. Now, they're a little bit deeper. They're not on the first contact point, but they're a little bit deeper down. Killykai's there, Chris is there. Now, they're going to be heading towards the ditch, I imagine, because if they've seen a car, if they've heard a shot, yeah, they've got to pull up and deal with this.
It could get out of danger here, could Northern Lights, and that's by a third party. Someone is shooting at Killykai from a very long distance away. You mentioned they weren't ready for this one. They were heading towards it, or maybe even not so, and just kind of wandering by, but then heard the vehicles late on. First nade, first contact. Perfectix goes down. Killyakai's position now well and truly noted. Brexco can support from the opposing side. Flushes, finishes, job done. Now he needs to be careful. Don't get greedy. Don't get overzealous and just go too far that you're out on a point where one of these players takes you down in response, or someone gets you from distance, just like that. The response is there. Now the tables have turned and we're kind of aimed up into an even game here. The bombardment will continue. Zocker's trying to pull this one's back. The vehicle gets in the way. Could have done with pulling that one up in front of him, but Brexco is there to try and do just that, give them a boundary to play off the back of. And is he getting aggro on this one? He's pulled up pretty close. I'm quite surprised he's tackled this head on, Lauren.
Yeah, it's a bit bold, isn't it? A little underhand there.
Yeah.
Brexco trying to draw a line in the sand here. Hold that push point, make sure no one goes further forward. A couple of shots coming in. And this could be another team. This could be anyone firing a fire. I don't think that was Shift W landing those shots, so that could have been plenty of others. Now there's further problems. The bystanders will hear this. Now they're on the southern side of the island, so there's other problems. Batulin's attention is split between, you know, two very, very good teams. And now you're seeing Liquid came in with a shot towards Brexco, but the Pink Ponies instantly trade out. And that's, again, very unorthodox. I don't normally see the likes of Liquid getting involved this early. Normally it's, let's get that center point, maybe a nice 2-2, but they've really gone in quite soon on this. This is going to be kind of causing a massive battle to potentially happen here. That's going to go on for quite a long amount of time.
You can see with the X-ray that Shift W are just bailing on this one. That's because the shots that are coming in from behind them, they know it's open, they know it's exposed, so they just want to try and get into a better position. There's no point in playing more useless lives and wasting them. They've already lost one. The biggest problem now for Northern Lights is the fact that there is a team behind them. It's on the bridge, it's up high, it's the bystanders, but they're shooting straight into their back. That's actually a belting shot from Chris. To at least pause them for all but a moment. Allows his team to regroup, and they'll take the 3-stack building in front of them. Northern Lights now just need to get into the vehicles and get gone. You've got a small window of opportunity, a small avenue of approach. You can just at least fly by and get out of that small area that you're in and just being shot into the back from the bystanders, because they're holding point. They're not moving. They are drilling them continuously and just keeping them at arm's length. If Northern Lights stay their feet, unfortunately, it means that Na'Vi gets to set up shop and kill them, and then camp out the bridge and remove the bystanders as the next victims that come through. Ents all the way to the top. They're on the slow game. In the north, coming past Yasnaya. Over by the west, you'll see ETG and the Sauna Boys again. A little bit late to the game. You know, slow and steady wins the race. WS, though, could be in for a bit of a treat. They're heading forward, and Omakan are directly in them. They're above the prison area. They'll be watching all of this, and they'll be trying to keep them back. Page begins to open fire. The peacocking will start. This is my territory. Stay away. He does have teammates that are in... They're not with him, but they're certainly within distance, at least, so they can keep bigger ground control, which I'm a big fan of, and it's something that Omicron will do quite well earlier on. Circle hits. It goes central, and it keeps the head of the pack and the main head of players square and center.
I'm kind of... I'd really like to... I wish I could talk to the desk sometimes, and I'm sure you know this too. Is this a normal rotation for Liquid? It feels weird to me that I'm seeing them in Milta, and just this early. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I feel as though they play a little bit different to this. But for now, it's got them in a great position. They can hold a very centralized area that, you know... Hello, desktop. Oh, goodbye, desktop. I was so excited. But we will be seeing everyone else kind of hello. Good English, Lauren. Heading in towards the circle. Sauna Boys and a couple of others going to take a little longer, but I want to see what the bystanders do with this as well. The Northern Lights are kind of locked to this position. Who shuffles in what way? Shift W got themselves out of the position that kind of Liquid took over in a slightly less committed manner. So Shift W have a little bit more, you know, a couple more options to look towards. DA deciding that Shelter was where they'd like to head towards, and the Turkish team showing that they're very much on point today, and those rotations have been quite good, honestly. The decision-making, the IGL, you know, the calling has been good. Sadly, they won't get this kill. It'll probably go towards Tornado Energy, if anyone. And the mad spam towards the end. One more bullet would have done it. Forever's made it. Bloody hell.
I have no idea how. I suppose the new car mechanic's not going up instantly when they're just... You got your 5-second pause before the explosion does somehow just save his life this time around. But ETG still have all 4 players up, so he's into a position where his teammates might be able to work off the back of him. If not, he's just in no man's land, because Tornado Energy do have this pretty well and truly locked down. There's no way for him to formulate anything. Maybe ETG can... No, in fact, they can't. I'm thinking they could try and strike Quizzy and Co on the side of the road, but they're in the building and fortified down. So really, he's on his own. Maybe he gets a quick headshot on someone that's out of place and being a bit too overstepping their boundaries. Gets a very lucky shot, if you will, and a small window of opportunity to do so. Sauna Boys have decided to not get involved with this one. I've just seen them on the northern side of the circle. They saw ENS and DA. Just so you're aware, Squeaky is sitting outside of the circle purposely to literally watch for anybody that comes in late game and protect his team. Jim Bob with a kill. Knock at least. Batulin goes down. Northern Lights have been having a bit of a difficult time, and they're kind of entrenched where they started off, unfortunately, coming across the bridge. They got held back by Shift W, then they've been held back by bystanders. Now they've been held back by Liquid. It's difficult times for them. They're still on their feet at least, but their gear must be looking a little bit battered at this point. They've not really been able to make any hard ground.
No, I'm with you, and you're seeing Liquid maintaining this position and not just finding Northern Lights, but this is probably a flush too, and it does go their way. Maybe being a little bit more proactive, and I like this from Liquid. I'd rather see them not just kind of try and cruise through under their normal speed, which a lot of the other teams are currently at. They're not, you know, super subpar to anyone else. They're sitting pretty much middle of the table. I'd like to see them get proactive early, because we know what happens when they get into those late game scenarios, late tournament scenarios, and they pop off and they go mad, and everyone's like, why couldn't you do this from the start? It's a lot easier said than done, of course. And that nade was very fortunate to not find example. Or unfortunate, I guess, depending on which way you want to look at it. And a good circle coming in for the likes of Liquid, Na'Vi, Pink, Ponies, FaZe. The bystander's not too bad off either. They'll get at least the safety of the very likelihood of no one coming behind them. However, the Wanderer gets the emergency meeting button hit this time. No funny business here. Sauna boys on the way past going to do perfectly well. Good little pickup. But we'll see if they make it through cleanly for the rest of it. They've taken a fair bit of flack on the way, so going to try and pull up, get a couple of shots back. But you are seeing a kill coming in towards, I think it was Offstring there. Yes, so knocked down. And these guys are isolated for WS. They're not that close by.
The fight's been forced, unfortunately, for the Sauna boys. They couldn't come in on the northern edge because of Ents. They then moved a little bit more to their right. They couldn't come in because of Omicron. And then you've basically got WSA, and it's like, well, what do? We have to make the best of a bad situation to be in. They have removed one player, but as they stall, as they stop to gather their thoughts, some of the tires were gone off the back of the vehicles. Like, this is now why, unfortunately, they are dropping. Nuki goes down. If they lose one from this, I think it's the best of a bad situation. Zocker has fallen. Uber and Itzy have found him, so Shift W trying to find a new home within the area of the circle. Small amount of minuscule movement, to be fair, but between them and Redline, they are stuck just off the backside of the Longin area near all the dead trees. Bystanders will be working their way in slowly but surely towards the southern edge of that fight. Enderlost slowly creeping up side of this hill. Smoke goes down for Alia. Huth's on the move. Actually, and I'm very surprised at this, and I think it's definitely worth talking about. We think where Tornado Energy was and how they were kind of set up, ETG have now encapsulated Tornado Energy. They've gone up and around all the players off the back of it, and they've actually removed Alia. He's gone. Squeaky's shooting at people out in the distance and just keeping them at bay. This is what he's been doing for the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game. WS still just trying to find a better entry point. Doesn't happen whatsoever as Smash just eliminates one on arrival. But honestly, like, ETG have clawed this one back. They've taken Alia down. To be held back for so long by Tornado Energy, it's a real turn.
Yeah, I beyond that, I would like to see how DA get themselves in safely and not get too much attention. The Sauna Boy is going to receive a lot of eyes from TSM, who are currently entrenched, literally in the trenches, as the Finns try and make their way through. And Misa's having troubles all across the board. Redline, careful to not overextend here, boys. Yeah, that's a little bold. Got a little too ahead of himself. Gets a little bit of fire back towards him, so Marv on the knees, and DA still going to find some damage. That's actually on Squeaky, so they've kept position. Now Omakun's going to get on this fight. Look at this. You have now somewhat in the middle, Omakun on one side, and then you have DA a little bit further back on the other. Now Page with some serious damage coming through. Nice work with the Org. Just holds it down, finding Tixu as well. Now Rustamor would love to get back into this, but you can see how widespread Omakun are. They control so much of this hillside, you're not going to get a look in edgeways. So now Omakun control the north. Now ETG will be called into attention from this, and I still wonder what DA do with this information. But this now goes to a bigger picture. Look at Northern Lights, look at Na'Vi, look at what remains of WS. Poor old Kemba, desperate to try and make a way in. It's not easy. The field, the infamous shack, will potentially become a conversation at some point because it's getting quite centralized here. Still a lot of the north in play, though.
Youth with a big boy gun. I'm assuming, I didn't quite catch, he's going to have level 3 gear to boot with that, because clearly going off the back of a drop. Circle should have been pre-read by a lot of these IGLs right now, with the Milta Bay being in play on this circle perfectly. You know exactly where the water's going to push it. Bystanders will go for the last-ditch attempt shack. Build themselves a little wall while doing so. Can you get inside? That is one hot zone. If you can close the door and get away with your life, then fair play. You've made it in. It's something. It's quite central as well, so to have 3 players and take them to the late game, I'm totally fine with it. I'm totally okay with it. Next circle should be favorable to them, at least. But that is, yeah, you can't do nothing now. You just have to pray for your dear life and hope that you can make it to this final circle and then come out when all the teams are just battering one another. There's still heavy action towards the north.
Rich, is it time for DA full send?
Where do they send it to, though? There's no real... Apart from a ditch they could go to, there's no priority compound they can take.
Full send, full send, DA full send. I don't know if they do. They're going to be a whole lot of bystanders, so I'm not sure. There really isn't much, is there? God, they've gone for the trees. That's it. Oh, there's a lot of people watching their way. I don't love it. There's a couple of rocks to try and push yourself against to make yourself seem a little smaller of a target. I guess it keeps them safer. I guess TSM can't see one side of them, but this is far from ideal.
They may have been looking towards the shack, then realised with all the vehicles outside of it, there's no point in even going for it, because you want to, if you're going to do it, you want to enter it cleanly. Even one player that just gets some knocks, it means that everyone else, TSM or Liquid, can pick up bodies and free frags. This fight towards the north still slowly unfolding. ETG, I'm surprised they've managed to keep 4 alive. They've done so well to be able to just get themselves out of harm's way. Smash goes down from the Pink Ponies, so finally their position has been noted. You can hear bullets just chipping away slowly but surely. And the one thing we have to note from this, Lauren, is that continuously they are just bleeding smokes. Utility is what's keeping them alive. Once that's gone from them, like, I don't know how they hold on. There's just teams on so many different sides.
It might be to play a unfavorable percentage and hope for the best. There's somewhat stability now in this circle. No one's going to lose life in rotation. Oh my. Just chilling out. Feels DA, man. Feels DA. I like
it's that moment when you want to make sure that you throw the real nade, and it's not a, you know, it's just, oops, wrong nade. Oh no.
Guys, dropped a nade. Guys, run. Oh god, if a nade came through, could you imagine? Oh, Mer's been found. Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing. You could either lay here and just get peppered to pieces, or you make an unfavorable play, which is we can send it somewhere and hope for the best, because this is not going well. They decided to just try and stick it out, and it's not gone well. Yes, they get center point, but this is kind of how it tends to go. So they will be eliminated, taken down. You know, is what it is. Now, what I'd like to kind of highlight beyond this, though, is traditionally we see this kind of end towards the fields, right? It's why that shack has become notorious, that bystanders currently hold. There's a couple other positions in the field that can be picked up later circle once some of those extremities that have vision on it get removed. But also then you look at where Clib currently resides. Now that's an incredibly good position as well. That's normally the fight that comes down to the last two, if that's the case. You can see the very fine angles they were working with to take down DA, but these players are all very good. So you can't be surprised when people find these sort of angles on you. Now, beyond that, though, you look towards FaZe. So those are your kind of three, I'd say, who are currently, if it goes towards what we know, in a very strong position. However, with the changes in the north, I'm curious to see how this now develops, because, again, TSM could be in a wonderful spot. We've seen some great fights up there, but whether or not that becomes a favorable position for the circle, yet to be seen.
Tornado on the other side will probably regroup with ETG. They've been in fights various times throughout this game thus far. Especially with the vehicles now, positions will be made aware of. Navi eventually have to come out and fight up against Pink Pony. At the moment, ETG look like they can try and wrap onto this one and get the upper hand onto Tornado Energy. See a bit of damage coming through from a different player as well, because they have a much deeper angle into this. Northern Lights, slowly but surely, will eventually come out from their hiding holes. WS also in the same. Good response from Quizzy. Answers back. Quepta with 2 HP. Gets the job done. Fantastic response to keep this one alive. Nades will begin to unfold from the side. Nothing found just yet, and he has to keep running. Can't even heal. As soon as the blue touches him, he will be a dead man. Marv on to kill you, Kai. Last player goes down from Shift W. 13 position for them. Huth giving up to the blue, and that's because of the knock that came in earlier on. Not a big problem. Senya, though, onto Vampire, so from distance, they remove one player outside of the windows. This gives Na'Vi an opportunity to get up against the walls.
They've got to get in there. They're just trying to send every nade, every bit of utility in towards this to try and give them a second or two. Orange and Tab still alive, trying to make the damage happen, but you got... I mean, Vampire is knocked, but they could potentially get him back up. Besto trying to get Senya back on his feet. Time going to be a factor. That is not a safe area, and you can see the preemptive smokes there to try and create a path for them to instantly move forward. So if that blue touches them, they're dead. So Example now forced to fight as well. He might decide to back away if he can. Yes, he does. Now the Tab's actually found an 8 towards Archie. So whether or not that's 2 now knocked for the Pink Ponies, or if it's just simply 1, we're yet to find out. But Etiquette's in all kinds of trouble, in between a rock and a hard place. TE down below, and now the team kind of laying down the fire from above. And Na'Vi are looking like they're successfully taking this compound from the Pink Ponies, which is quite surprising. They had hard cover to play with. And once again, that shack becomes the most paramount position on the map. Melman still in the fight towards the north. It's moved away from all these teams. It's time to frag out, boys. This is what it is. You will not get in, you know, a full squad. So let's try and get some points on the board, and they do just that. Nice work between Melman and Example. Very quick on the trigger, as T-Bone does fall. Iro also doing well for himself there. Now, we got to look at the circle overall in a second's time, and I want to quickly highlight, yes, that Omicron and T fight is going to go on, but look at this. Now, Liquid, Bystanders phase, as I highlighted, become the big names in here. TSM could arrive and make a bit of a noise for themselves. Northern Lights is going to be tricky to leave that area, very visible across the board. That's why Uber and AT are probably still in that position. This fight in the north is going to come to an end soon, as Na'Vi are going to turn up here and potentially just sweep everyone aside. And they've done just that. Melman, Example, go down. Uber just found Batulins, watching that position as we noted. And that's going to become a bigger issue for Northern Lights. They cannot easily leave this area. Yeah, okay, we go to the left. Liquid sees us. And right now, Senya sees everything in the north.
There's no breathing at all for Na'Vi. They've initially just taken the compound, they've worked their way through circle updates, and they have to go again. They've moved into a position they can capitalize and remove Omicron as they come down from the north. There is danger, though. Yort's actually overstepping his boundaries and working his way outside of the shack to get some shots into this, and I don't blame him. If he can pick up some free frags, then why the hell wouldn't you? Circle does come in, does the damage, and removes Omicron from the game in 8th position. Orange half HP. Senya, unfortunately, Tab is down. Back on his feet, alive and kicking, but now positions have been noted. Again, with the vehicles there, it wasn't a guessing man's game anyway. You knew that there was going to be a team lingering in that shack. Liquid, they can play with a ridgeline that runs outside of Milta. As it just dips into the middle of that field, they can play it with ease. And now Navi's position, moving up more towards the central side of the circle, it becomes so much more easier for them. TSM have a full eye line into this. And look at that, they're even getting the vehicles, and they're tackling this. They want to get involved. They're going to take them face on. This is a fantastic push from TSM. If it works, it will be even better. Someone's attacking the shack. What is this? Liquid's going off on one. They're clearing out the bystanders. One good molly inside there will spell disaster. But Navi's turned up as well, Lauren. This is utter chaos.
Everyone knows this shack is just death, and James is going to confirm it. Bodies litter the floor, and if he goes in unawares and doesn't realize there could be someone else here, Tab might get the best of him. Now, does James play this right? There's smoke, there's mollies, there's bits and pieces everywhere. Tab's unsure what's happened, who's where, and now the fire's still burning. He's got to be careful here. He's inside, but did he make noise? I think he did. Tab now might be noted, and another nade's about to be posted. James is sending teams just absolutely out of here. Tab is tagged up. Another nade. Dead one this time allows James to get closer by, and that's going to be a beautiful bit of hip fire. And that's exactly what you wanted from him. And now James controls the most pivotal part of the map, at least in the last circle. This has moved further east, and TSM have won the fight up against Na'Vi in the north. TSM control the northern portion. FaZe dominate the east, and Liquid over towards the west, and Northern Lights outside of the circle.
I'm quite surprised at this one. I expected to see that shack in play for a lot longer, to be fair, but the circle does pull it outside of the fields, and we have to hop on board with TSM. They're top side of this. They have the best position. It's not inside, and that's the crucial thing. That's why they have to take a fight against FaZe Clan, or at least do as much damage as they can if they want to work their way forward. That's a pivotal position to take a hold of if by some chance they can take control of it, but it's easier said than done. Aitz's position gives him full vision, full overwatch of them working their way down that mountainside, or hillside if you will, not a mountainside. It could be a mountain task, to be fair. Top 4 comes in, as unfortunately Ibis does go out. But look at that. Could you ask for a better final 4 teams in the circle? It's only FaZe with 3 alive.
Oh, Vod, you galaxy brain player, but does get found by Fuzzface in the end, who's waiting patiently to get picked up by Batulins. Northern Lights battering their way through. They are in no man's land. They're in the middle of a goddamn field, and they're still finding kills. FaZe just got crashed in the end. Gustav still stands and desperate for a bit of a heal to come off, and he gets it. But he's feeling so isolated here. He does have the support from AT from afar, but those nades feel like there's a time limit until they hit so perfectly. Fex and Iro posting them from a mile away. And now we wait and see what this circle looks like. Liquid, prone down, desperate for any piece of cover to come in just to keep them that touch safe for them before. Northern Lights in the middle of a field. They've got a couple of hay bales, and that's it. Now with the floor on fire, and if FaZe, no one is safe. No one is in a strong position. Everyone is feeling under the gun here.
Well, TSM and FaZe are just knocking the hell out of each other. This is a bit sketchy for Liquid. They've done well so far, but the very unexplained. I say unexplained. It's there's nowhere else really to go. They've been clutching at straws this entire map. Northern Lights, the unorthodox, I will say, position to be in now. It's the issue that Team Liquid are going to be dealt with. Clib, or even the boys from Team Liquid, if they can just step up outside that car and get a banger of a headshot, give them some breathing room, give them something. A lot easier said than done. Could be an easier task for FaZe if Itzy nails the shot, which he does. And you know what? TSM's like, I can't even help you. We need to get out of this one. But does Vex know what's coming? Does Gustav knows what's coming? He does not. Ram raided out of the server. Vex takes control of the rock and just absolutely mashes him into the ground.
I cannot believe that. And again, this is some of the more established, more experienced teams towards the end here, so you do not expect mistakes to be made. Itzy's going to find Iroh, get that point in his pocket. We're going to watch a replay back here. Itzy's going to have to find a way into the circle eventually. He's kind of locked in this compound. There is a touch of area he could shuffle into, but it's not great. Northern Lights, similar scenario. They are not in the new circle. Close as they may seem, they are not in. So this is what's going to happen. They have to make some mad moves, try and make it count, and Vex is trying to make the points while he can. He's the only one alive for TSM, and he's still doing work. Now the Northern Lights get piled in upon, and surely this is going to be a big moment for Liquid. 4 of them still standing. Vex has 5 kills, though. Itzy on the other side. But now begins the hunt for Liquid. They are hungry for this one. 4 players. There is not a world where I see them drop this, but Vex has been a beast in the past, but now he's looking battered and bruised and a little sore from the fights before. Another piece of utility, more flashes, more stuns, more everything being poured down. Vex's vision must be down to 0. You can see how meticulous they're being, though, how cautious they're being. Vex is still undiscovered, peeks out, says hello, and Jeem says goodbye. We're down to just 80 now, and it looks like a Liquid win if I've ever seen one, and it is. They even grabbed the points. 10 kills for Liquid. And I've got to say, a little bit more proactive from Liquid, and I like to see that. 10 kills there for them. They got that bridge position, kind of, I guess, the kind of exit of the bridge quite early, and they were taking fights. I feel as though this is when you put pressure on Liquid to deliver points, they become the better side than, you know, they can cruise through on other games. So if this is what we see going forward, and maybe they depend on Erangel, I'm happy to see it. Bring it on. But Northern Lights still very relevant towards the end, even after a disastrous start, is pretty good work from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think anything to take it away from them. I mean, Vex stepping in at the end as the third party was just the catalyst that Liquid needed to fold on that final kill from Northern Lights, which allowed them kind of to win the game. They were certainly struggling, not struggling, but struggling to get vision on that final player. You know, over peaking, it's going to be very difficult when you're all trying to hide behind a car. I do have to give massive amounts of credit to Jeems to be so proactive in going after the Shack guys, getting them, well, basically getting stuck in there into 2 different teams, and also going hunting for Vex afterwards. Being proactive rather than just sitting back is really what helped Liquid win. He was a huge factor in that, so good job from him.
Yeah, and I'm sure to highlight some of those more nuanced pieces and give us an overall look will be the desk. Let's head back over there.
Desk time after what looks like a more normal finish in terms of the standings here for some onlookers from 2020. PUBG Esports, Team Liquid, FaZe, and TSM take the top 3 spots here in our game. At number 7, Avenger Frost joining me here. That was a little bit of a crazy ending, to say the least. Kind of alluded to by our commentators as well, that there was really not too many great spots towards the end of that game, Martin, that the teams had to treacherously move through.
No, and on top of that, there is a very low amount of teams playing Milta, so like there are so many other places kind of occupied, considering how much teams can actually play inside Milta. Obviously, the circle was not too good for it, but Liquid managed to play out of it and played it extremely well as well. But this area, open hillside with a field with like one compound in somewhat late, it's just an interesting way to see how these teams approach it. Like for me, that's where the teams, they really show their skill, you know.
And DA crashing in towards this rock. They went for a Hail Mary Frost towards the middle of the map, and unfortunately it did not work out for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what happened there, because that's not what we've seen from DA so far here in the PCS3 finals. That was kind of an odd one for me. It was kind of the old DA. Tried to crash middle, just go prone. I'd rather see them try to crash a compound, try to take something, fight for it, because almost every time you're gonna get at least something from it, at least one kill from it. It's gonna be worth more than just trying to prone, because Proning, sure, it can get you a placement point or two maybe towards the late game, but this is way too early, way too centered, and everyone's just going to be shooting at you. And that's basically what we saw. Once they ran out of smokes, everyone started peppering them.
I think what's very important about what you said is that they've proved that they can kind of make those crashes work as well, especially with how the new roster kind of the addition of Marco and their kind of new revitalized position stands. And unfortunately for FaZe there, they do get taken out towards the end. They made a good meal of it over on that east side though. Here's the points coming in. It's 9th through 16th. Not too many points whatsoever going in for our bottom 8 teams. It's going to be all very, very top heavy here for this lobby as our 1 through 8. 20 points for Team Liquid. That's the catch up that they want. FaZe with 13, TSM with 13. So brilliant stuff here for all of our big names throughout this game, Martin.
Yeah, that is literally the big four, the fantastic four, whatever you want to call them. That's we've been talking a lot about them, how they're able to always perform, but this is what we know these guys are capable of, right? So it's great to see these guys come into a circle that is this rough and really show why these guys are the big dogs. To a circle that is this rough and really show why these guys are the big dogs.
James putting in some work as well. 1 from Team Liquid, 1 from TSM, 1 from Navi, 1 from FaZe. And Nail Up sneaking in once again here at the very end. So great stuff from these guys coming in. Spiro and Batulans will be showing up in the damage. Northern Lights down towards the south here, Froz. They really, I mean, they had a good position up until the circle goes away from them, and then transitioning to any other hay bales or rocks was nigh on impossible at the very end for them.
Yeah, and we saw that most of the teams, they didn't have much to play with. But that's how it comes down sometimes. You need to prepare yourself for these kind of circles and what moves you can actually make from where you're playing from. If you can't play anything, if it goes like away from you, you got to realize that sooner rather than later and try to make something happen before it happens. This time, it didn't happen for NLT, so we saw them basically just go down in flames or just get peppered down out there on the field itself.
Martin, do you know what's better than 3 pick'em codes?
Multiple?
4 pick'em codes, because we've got another one, Martin. Come on. Anyway,
that's great. I didn't want to take it away from you, you know?
Frost was like, I know, please, teacher. Here's the one down towards the bottom. You guys can use this to get yourself some challenge voting coupons in-game. However, it's got limited uses, so the quicker you are with it, the quicker on the trigger, the better your chances are. So make sure to pick that up for Coupon Carnage, because now I'm keeping it. Coupon Carnage is here to stay. Great stuff. Also, you can bind your Twitch account to your PUBG account, and you can get yourself some extra esports points whilst everything's going on. It's a great time here for the PCS3. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, Martin. How about yourself?
I'm enjoying it as well. Like I love these competitions, especially when you know these guys, how much they train and work for this, and how hard they work for it, and how well they're able to go in and compete against each other. And the meta changes from group stages going into the grand finals. Also hearing Quizzy saying, we're holding back a little bit. You only need to qualify for the top 16. So yeah, it's nice to see.
And what's even nicer to see? 4 people, not just 3 people, but 4 people in our conversation, because we've got Shrimsy here joining us from Sonic's PCS2 champions, might I add. How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing good, and you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So my first question to you, whilst he's actually going to be here during our 4th game, and we're going to be able to talk to him about the 4th game and how everything's going on here, because we've got the best guests. So what have you seen so far throughout our 3 games here from Europe?
I've been pretty surprised, honestly. Normally you see your TLs, FaZe, TSMs, Navis dominating, but we've seen like the mix up of Tornado Energy, Northern Lights, DA's playing pretty well. So just seems like there's a lot of teams that could potentially run away with this tournament. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think we're proud of the depth of Europe, I suppose, is how I want to phrase it, because there's all these teams that are able to put up numbers and stuff like that. And to Shrimsy's point here, Froz, when you look at a DA and Northern Lights, we've already seen Northern Lights take that charity showdown at the very beginning of the year. They didn't quite have the easiest middle of the year, but now I feel like they're real big contenders once again here at PCS3.
Yeah, I feel like they're playing a little bit differently. I feel like the old Northern Lights, they would go more center. They would try to try to take more fights. But nowadays we see them go more edge, they play a little bit more passively, and you're gonna always have battling. Being the scout, this is also what, of course, Tornado was saying with Quizzy, that they put Alia on a similar spot, doing kind of a similar thing. But that gives so much information, and battling, he's going to be calling for the team as well. So he's going to get all the information. He knows exactly what to call out. You guys go over there. I'll go for a new spot. I'll check out new stuff for you guys. And they just play like that all the time until the late game. And from the late game, usually they just wait a little bit. They have full control over where they want to go, and they know the surroundings, exactly what's in front of them, what hurdles they need to take down before they can win the game as well.
And I like that Quizzy was kind of talking about adaptations and watching other teams and learning from how they were playing things out. Shrimsy, when you're obviously from your pro perspective, how often does your team how often are you watching other teams thinking, that's a good strategy, we could use that, that's a good approach to that compound, we could use that? Is that something that kind of comes into Sonic's play, or what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I know that Hwin watches like every single tournament, every single game from like most regions. I think he might not watch APAC very much, but he watches, Asia and EU so much, and he takes a lot from like Gen G and Liquid and stuff, so that he could see like their rotations and what they do and stuff, and he implements it into our own game and in our own way. So yeah, we definitely take a lot from other teams for sure.
Nice. I mean, and you don't really need to watch APAC too much, because all you need to know about is LG Divine and that they're doing really, really well. So that's all you really need from there so far. But Martin, coming into our next game here, when you look at the situation that Team Liquid FaZe, Northern Lights, TSM were all in here, if you had to pick which position you would have liked to have been in, all things considered, where would you have gone whilst we take a look at the standings here? Because I feel like it was very difficult for these teams to try and jostle for position during all of that.
Well, it kind of comes down to where you start, where the playing path was. Like it comes out from the start. Like, and that's what I love about PUBG. Like you start on the plane, everybody has equal opportunity. It comes down to decision making throughout, right? But when I play, I take the consideration into where the playing path was and where the majority of the player was, and I try to play on the lesser populated side, where same style as kind of Liquid. They try to make some clever rotations and try to put themselves into a spot where they have to fight maybe only one team before they get into a kind of lesser populated area, and then they have an easy access into the circle.
Huge leaps up from Team Liquid, Na'Vi, and TSM as they move up 3 places and 4 places respectively. Pink Pony still in that middle pack here right now. I continue to be impressed by their fortitude, I suppose, Froz, when I kind of boil it down to that, because it can be very easy for a team that has never qualified for the top 16 before to get lost in the shuffle and just end up in 15th and 16th, right? But sitting in the middle pack right now, I think, is very respectable.
Definitely, out of all the teams we have here in the PCS3 Europe finals, I'd say Pink Pony is the least experienced team. And it might not sound like too much, but when it comes down to the wire, it's actually a big point to be experienced. Having the experience, knowing exactly how to handle different situations, not just in the game, but outside the game as well, no matter what happens. If you get out on 16th place, you might have a player or two, a teammate or two that starts being a little bit down and stuff like that. Knowing how to bring them back, that's a very good thing to have in the team, because that's going to help you to win the next game if you can, that is.
All right, time to throw Shrimsy a 30-second curveball. After watching the previous game, coming into this, Erangel, who are you looking out for?
I'm looking for Liquid, because obviously they won that last game with a lot of kills, so they're feeling themselves pretty well. James obviously has the IGL, feeling himself with 5 kills, a lot of damage last game, so I expect to see them come out really strong next game and basically just take whatever they want to take.
Damn, Shrimsy just knocked it out of the park. Oh well, anyway, it's time. We're getting into Erangel. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I will discuss the game as it's going on. It's Sims, it's Pansy. It's our last game of the day here for day number 2 of the grand final.
Yeah, thank you very much. And do you see how Martin and Froz just looked a little nervous? Like, oh no, someone who actually knows the game. Oh no. The fear. The fear was setting in. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's good to hear from a new voice, though, bringing in some new perspectives and kind of giving us an idea. Yeah, last game of the day, though, and a little bit more of a Millie Island drop here. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of names.
Yeah, there's a fair few. We're talking about it's weekend number 1. It's the last game of weekend number 1, so we want some excitement, we want some action, and honestly, there is potential that we get it here with an unorthodox team like TA. Well, maybe looking at FaZe Clan and seeing where they're going, there is potential for an early hot drop. I'm looking at Redline and Navi. Also, Navi, I know they've gone much earlier, but you can see the tab is quite literally keeping a tab on all of Redline and where they're going to land their feet. ETG and the Sauna Boys is always that possibility. We've seen it once. It may happen again. Very doubtful. They will probably just go to the roadside as they did in the previous match, but certainly it's a tantalizing prospect that we do keep our eye on. It's actually, I think, looking at it, it's DAO taking the main head of the compounds and forced FaZe upside of the hill.
Yeah, did DA just daddy FaZe? I mean...
It's happened again.
Ooh!
It did happen.
Rich, what the hell is going on? Why is this a thing? It is fun, though. This time, though, last time we had kind of, you know, the vectors coming out, the shotguns. Now we've got barrels and we've got M249s. It's a little bit more beefy, but just the same sort of carnage. Forever still alive with the M249 in one of the compounds. Huth is how we're saying it. Is more on the outside. And on the other side for the Sauna Boys, they're going to get the res. Ooh, this is getting a little dicey. If that nade had landed, that could have been a 2-for-1.
Same principle as yesterday. I felt
Have
like
you seen the
ETG
circle,
were
by the
more.
way?
All right. There's 3 teams in the circle after. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's see this one through first.
You can cast this out. I'm just gonna laugh for a bit.
Yeah, definitely hopped on board a bit faster than what we did yesterday. I'm glad the observation team were keeping track on that one. We get into it. We do lose one player initially in the form of Quepta. And Sauna Boys also on their side. You can just hear the SMGs ringing loud and proud. I mean, an AK on Misa. Nade. We have seen one cycle on the opposing side also. Damage has been done. We're losing Sakura also. So at least tanked up on both sides. And it's one of those moments where looking at the playing path, it may have been a ditch attempt into this. I kind of, as a camera pulled away, we're kind of expecting it to update and the players actually go towards the roadside. So jumping in this, I'm surprised they've gone for it again, especially after yesterday's unfortunate ending, losing them all basically straight off the bat. They've all postured for a second. Barrel in hand, Uzi also on the opposing side. Probably could get round, and it goes for a nice little cheeky peek. But at least he does have gear. That is the better side across both at the moment, with having level 1s, maybe a level 2 chest amongst them. It's still something. Vanderlust going down again, then puts it back into the other opposing court of the Sauna Boys, and maybe they capitalize on this one. Maybe they push it harder. But forever, with that 249, I think it's forever with the 249, unless I've just completely been mistaken. I know he's got a mini in hand. Yes, excuse me, I am telling him. Does he just cycle between 2 different weapons? Potentially. All right, well, once again, it's the Sauna Boys who look like they're coming out on top of this one.
I don't think anyone wins out of this one, if I'm honest. I mean, yeah, ETG are very much on the back foot. Wonder if Forever can do any damage. I'm sure they're aware of his presence. I wonder if they clear it well enough, though. And Anonymous can kind of call out what he's hearing. I'm sure there's steps to be heard. And there's the molly. And there we go. Just, yep. Final one.
GG.
There it goes. Right. Yeah, we don't love a hot drop here. It's just the gear's garbage, and I don't get the intention. Now, here's what I was giggling at. Excuse me for doing this prior to you seeing it, but you know, the circle. Just big FU to every single player here who's gone. Like, imagine being Northern Lights and you drop in Zaki sometimes. You go, don't worry, guys, we'll be, you know, Novo's fine. You know, it'll probably be maybe even just, you know, maybe a Pachinki circle or a Sanovic Island circle would be great. Nah. We're going up to shooting range. Liquid already getting across the road kind of by the 4-stack or the cube, whatever you like to call it. Somewhat near that area, keeping a bit of an eye on. They've got a bit of time up there. TSM going to be keeping the east somewhat safe, and I wonder how long are they going to stay around, because they could get a bit of attention from Tornado Energy or the Pink Ponies.
Liquid are actually driving into a team. WS are up there, and unless they pull back on this one, Liquid will have to take a fight. There's players up close and personal, so Wanderer is company. He's off in West Town from Georgia Pole. There's nothing, he'll be no support in this one. For the rest of WS, they're getting in vehicles. They're going. They're scared of this fight. They don't want to take it. 3 teams Over more towards the right-hand side, TSM, Tornado Energy, Pink Pony, they're going to go for the rotate. DA just got the hell off of Sosnovka as quick as you can imagine, and they will pick up the remnants of what's left over in Pachinki from Liquid evacuating the situation. Good read off that. You know that Liquid moves fast, moves quick, and it's going to be a free place to be able to get geared up. FaZe, actually, it's... And you kind of touched on it just before we moved to the hot drop. Like, it's uncanny for FaZe to be pushed out by a team so early on. Clearly they don't want the hot drop. They don't want to lose needless bodies and needless players so early on in the game, but adaptation, it's nice to see. They are a bit spread, and they are going to be probably playing maybe off the blue. We've got a bridge in Captain, but it's only one play.
Oh! Squeaky's like, bro, I think my tire just popped. What the hell just happened? Just hits the curb, just prangs it. Keeps going though, just maybe takes a different route. Like, I'll catch you guys up soon, don't worry. I'll parallel park when no one's watching. The other three, they're gonna head right on through, but what a fun little circle coming in. I don't know what to make of this one. I hope we get where kind of events are going. That to me is some of my most fun. Zaki area, or even, you know, back in the day of Northern Georgia Pop. We haven't had a circle ending like that in a while. I mean, roll your mind back to the old TSM, the old TSM, where they used to be gods of that area. Now, speaking of the new TSM, they're over towards kind of the south side of shooting range-ish, kind of more towards that area. Pink Pony's heading towards the east. And FaZe feels weird. And they've got Flammy below. Rich, sometimes PUBG does weird things. They have no idea of each other. They're completely unawares.
Yeah, that's kind of what's more scary out of all of this, is that they're looking to try and secure themselves a very easy and secure approach to the circle, but they don't realize there is a player still lingering and lurking below them. It's good scouting coming out of it. See, now he definitely will be going off the bridge. He'll just be able to say, "No, we'll let you go, boys. You take that. You get the hell out of here," and then we're free to go. There's no point shooting at this point, because then you're just asking to be bridge camped, although you won't want to be really doing it from the blue. Everyone else, just so you're aware, we'll keep track of the circle. We don't want to kind of focus too much on it. You've got ENS, you've got Tornado Energy, Pink Pony, TSM, the teams that were on the rotate either side of the west and east of the circle. They're up in the north. They're going for that northern push now. I'm glad you touched on ENS as well, Lauren, because that is a team that we have seen predominantly actually win games in and around that field area. We see them late game. It's happy territory for them. It's a usual rotate over by that western side, even though they're a team that, again, usually will be somewhere in and around Stalber, down backside of Yasnaya, kind of lingering and lurking up towards the north at least, but not this time around given the flight path that came through. It's been a rough one thus far. FaZe are all half health, and it's going to be because they are in the blue, and it will be ticking away slowly but surely, so they'll have to commit some meds to this to be able to get them to the circle. Ever since you've touched it, though, I just see this going up towards the north. I really do, and the northern side of Georgia Paul Bay. I can't not unsee it now. It would, I don't know.
We'll see. Teams do not know. Normally, you'll see, I'd say a 70-30. You know, intentions noted. Wow. Okay. This gets fun. So it should. I say it should go to the north side just because of how the river dips. However, there is a chance it can still go anywhere potentially. So someone like Liquid's going to be happy. They've kind of hedged their bets. TSM probably not displeased, depending on if they can hold it, because Northern Knights are looking like they want to take this territory. Now, of course, you know, the teams that gambled stacked on the kind of more extreme northern portions, or maybe, you know, the further south side or the western side, probably put out a little bit here. They won't be able to get a good position, because bear in mind, the slap-bang center of the current circle pretty much is water and an island, so it's actually not that ideal for a lot of these teams who are going to have to kind of play, almost, it's like a donut, you know what I mean, with a little circle missing in the middle.
Trying to see if anyone's going to be landlocked. They could have gone for the cube stack to just lock that down and try and block anyone off coming from the bridge. He might be taking the hill to look at how shooting range is going, because if it does pull towards the north, there's room at the... You've got those hills at the top of shooting range, what look down. Northern Lights are actually going to sit into a very comfortable position. I love this area with the level 3 building that you can get up high on and get some vision, and then on controlling the other side of it. Like, we'll see fights, but it's from either side of that where a team comes out of Roshawk and dips onto that hill and then has to fight it out. But if they control both portions of it, that's going to be fantastic work. Jimbo's clearly done a bit of a scout. Mertz made it through the water. The bike is still running. He's just going to flush all the water out the engine, rev that bad boy and crack on. Going through the islands that you mentioned, though, is he's got to be careful that no one's on the opposing side or they don't get boxed in, to be fair. FaZe Clan, just so you are aware, are still in the blue. The circle's been a teeny bit more favorable to them, but because of the bystanders almost on a simultaneous rotation path, they are now blocking them. And I can see the bystanders, the little arrows on the players, Lauren, they're looking this way. So I wonder if they track FaZe and maybe block them in.
I wonder. Let's see. He's going to hear enough that he's going to dip off as soon as he can. Take more of a northern swing. Flammy's moving up towards this. They're being quite aggressive. Yes, Flammy's going ahead to keep back the likes of Fuzzface or anyone else. Now, there is still a nade on Flammy, too. If he feels suspicious of the vehicle that's on the bridge that he seems to be ignoring, he could have decided to pop a couple of shots, but Fuzzface barely alive, and his meds are poor. Look at this. He is just trying to get those bandages on. He's down to absolutely nothing. So this is, you know, the art class of Fuzzface desperately trying to keep his life ticking away for him. And hearing Flammy pull up is probably making him more nervous than anything. And might be in the position now to get off a full med kit. Yes, he is. Just ticks over that 30%. And he should be able to get up there. But Uber silently rolling in, trying to stay quiet in this. And Yellow is not far away from here.
Well, the idea's been there. The vert nade's down. It lands. It bounces. Oh, it bounced off the side, though, with the smoke. I didn't quite catch it, so it hits his one time he had to go at it. And unfortunately, it's not paid off. Time to get the hell out of there as Yellow folds onto Uber. And again, this just comes down to great play from the bystanders. It's obviously a certain proportion of luck that they just went ahead of FaZe without them knowing. But they have been actively tracking them in the blue, and they are actively keeping them out completely, and the circle's been okay for them.
Rich, this is going to be a brutal circle. So more likely than not, right? You and me both know it. It's going to be like Northern Light, Shift W, maybe a bit of DA sort of area. The South shouldn't have much play to it. So there ain't many buildings up there in the North, are there, Rich?
No, TSM basically controls everything. This is going to be wild. This could... I mean, how many could we be losing here? Maybe 5 teams potentially. WS, the first one who offered themselves up, unless they can take... I mean, there's... It's barely nothing. There's a couple of little low points with the dirt roads that run through that you could take residency in. I mean, hell, even Liquid might opt to go for that because it's going to be a last-ditch attempt. That's what WS is doing. They're going to set up shop. That's the forest area that looks on towards the buildings. The Liquids realize what's going on. There's a team rotating, so they will start to shoot into this. The only problem is the more damage that is done to Redline, the easier it becomes for them to die as they go up against WS. This is just a dungeon gauntlet. So many teams. Not enough room to play with. Eesh.
Yeah. DA, though, nice work. Obviously, newer changes and adaptations to the map have allowed positions like this to be viable. This wasn't there in the past, so now it is, and it's provided good hard cover for them to work from. Smash and Metralius both in this sort of position, keeping back Redline as best they can, and, well, it's worked out well for them. They needed that. They needed to secure their position and let others know, hey, you ain't getting through here. But with Redline falling back, this brings it to the plate of win streak. Nade to hand. I'm pretty sure Ivers was noted there. Maxie's got to be careful. Yeah, there we go. Makes a spot, but now he's isolated on his own. Can't really be helped. QB is going to find him, and actually, yeah, Redline had to turn away, but they merely fall into a better fight for themselves.
Probably not a great deal he can do with the angles that are going to be covered. QB is just trying to play for time, to be fair. That's all he really can do. With one knocked on the side of WS, there is a small opportunity. Excuse me. No, he's not. I'm lying. Maxie's go down. Didn't quite catch that one. Examples lurking. Wanderer's just waiting for the right time to strike with the SKS. Doesn't land a bullet this time, but at least forces him back. They've got a shack to play with, but I mean, really, what's that in the grand scheme of things when you have Tornado Energy just bearing down upon you? Liquid still staying alive and keeping Na'Vi at bay, disconnected all the way on the opposing side of the water. That'll be the last team to make it across unless you want to really classify Rosshock as that as well. I suppose you can. They are on the opposing side of the river, but they're in the much better position, much further forward, and they've got a compound to work with as well. But Mexi has fallen. With Mexi falling, that makes things a little bit more easier. Not, you know, not the best thing. Look at Ibby. He's already been proactive on this. Maybe he tries to deny Na'Vi getting in. Quizzy with the AWM, the big machines involved, and win streak have fallen.
Ooh. Okay, let's take a look at what this circle means. TSM, can they maintain this 2-2 split? It's actually quite bold because they're not necessarily as complementary as you'd imagine. The hillside will play a bit of a factor to it. I'd be curious if they decide to compress back into one squad. Depends how much pressure they get thrown towards them. Northern Lights can maintain this position. They might have to give up where Spyro currently resides and where the bystanders want to pay attention to. Maybe stack out further towards Perfectix. It may be the better plan. Kind of divide that as the line. Hold this as long as they feel comfortable and then fall back through. You just don't want people slipping through your line of defense. You've got to look towards the north now. Tornado Energy and Pink Ponies posturing, but if Tornado Energy find the right angle, they can get in here. I'm looking at Liquid and Na'Vi. They're in a bad spot. They stuck around in their positions quite late, and now they're caught with swimming across. That's not what you want at this point. And Team Liquid, blind sending into this scenario, not good at all.
With Mexi going down, they'll have heard where the shot came from. I'm surprised that Ibby didn't actually go to a better position to maybe try and stop the advancement from Na'Vi. Big crash coming in. We'll shut up for a second. Northern Lights. Perfectix on his own while all of bystanders, all 4 players are here, but Squeaky gets involved from a distance, so Ence knock them down for all but a moment. Flammy is finished off. The nade comes in. Mollies go down for area of denial. And Lou's here for backup, but look who's lingering on the hillside, Lauren. Look who's back building into this one.
Yeah, but look who's going to third party them. Omicron. There is no winning in this one for FaZe. They have not had a comfortable position at all. Perfectix is being held safe, but there's a time limit on, as you said, Lou, potentially from the likes of FaZe coming around and getting vision on this, which they will have soon. But for FaZe, would they rather get safe in the circle first? And that looks like the priority. Head south, which opens them then up towards Omicron. So now, there it comes. Batulins looks their way. Sure, he gets a knock, but it may just be Omicron to get the flush. We are seeing Gustav being the one to be on the receiving end of this, and 80 not too good either. Bystanders are living in the shadow of the Northern Lights for now, and I don't know how long they can get on with this.
Lights are going down from distance on Batulins. All kinds of problems as DA's here. Liquid. Still got to fight at the door with the players downstairs. Shift W, but nades up and in the stairs. And instantly, the second we hop on board with Liquid, they are eliminated. Decent nade from Braxco, and it's job done. Fuzzface has taken a more alternate angle to try and tackle this one. Maybe stab them in the back. Maybe get an eyeline into Batulins. But the problem is, as you said, Lauren, for all these times we can talk about third parties, there's someone else to always fold into them. Omicron, thankfully, doesn't have anybody behind them, but they can't go too low. By doing so, they'll be exposed, unfortunately, to Shift W.
Besto hears these steps.
Easily.
Besto hears all of this. Oh, Orange has found Code Marco. Where's the trades? There it is. Smash finds Besto. Back in we go. Tab going to try and look further towards the north, trying to clue the boys down towards the south. He gets one. That's not bad, but the quick trade out. Smash and Mert just about keeping this safe. Now they are recoverable. Code Marco is knocked, but Trallius is there. Mert's down. Smash can pick him up. And they've secured their side. Or have they? Nailup is getting very curious. Nailup is heading over this way. So if he gets vision, he could wipe the entirety of DA. Let's see what he sees. He's just on top of the hillside. The rest are now coming over, but it's too little too late. Or is it? Nailup only good for one. If he'd got there a touch sooner, they could have done more. But DA holding on by the finest of margins. This is danger territory. You've got the blue coming in. You've got players down on your back. You've got the crash in the compound. BB being pressured. But coming up with the goods until Spyro drops him from the roof. And they'll get Perfectix back on his feet. Batulin still stands. Northern Lights with 4 players still alive here. Omicron one in on this. They're about to crash that fight just now. Fuzzface is in danger. He's got 2 teams coming his way. And there is fights everywhere right now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. Page goes down. He is solidified by Northern Lights. They're retreating further down to try and get an eyeline into this. Remember, Fuzzface, they don't know his position unless his footsteps are just cycling that nade and moving forward. Have been noted. One player back up against the wall is Jempty. Misa and the boys, they go down. Unfortunately, Sauna boys have been removed. Fin on fin action as Squeaky puts the nail in the coffin alongside Tixu. Fuzzface steps out and it's time to shine. There's the first. Did he realize someone's actually gone behind him? I don't think he's quite spotted him yet as he hits the deck. There is a...
This is
Did
sick.
not see that one. Second one down there as well. But the thing is, Batulins can see into this. That's the only real problem for him. He can't go outside, Lauren.
Nah, the molly's the biggest problem. There he goes, spreads through. Unfortunate for Fuzzface, but a good attempt. Had to make something happen, but Northern Lights are now on the door, and Omicron maybe comms a little scattered now after that battle with Fuzzface, and those smokes rife on the floor. Now keep in mind that Northern Lights can keep Omicron locked in unless they use the smokes to leave. Now they can't do that. Perfectix already finding T-Bone, but Jempty on the push, and it's just Jempty. Now, on his own, this man can do wonders, and he can cost people placement and positioning and potentially prizes. But we'll see what he does. Creeps around the smoke, and Northern Lights still preoccupied, still thinking there's more inside the shack. But no, Gemty's outside, and he could be the undoing all of this. There's one, spots it, waits, decides to strike. The shots weren't with him that time. He needed them so badly, and now overwhelmed Swarm. Northern Lights control the East. It's theirs, and a hard fought for slice of the pie as well.
This is the thing, while you're watching all this action, we are sticking to certain teams, but remember there is 8 alive still with 28 players up. It's just been fight after fight constantly for the Northern Lights. They work their way into this one. TSM are looking. They're leaving the safety net of their shack ever so slightly. They're still staying back in the compound just so they have that hard cover, but Miraku, and I think it is Vard, handing, in fact, all 3 of them are now beginning to crawl towards this, and they have vision on both of these teams, Lauren.
Yeah, if they don't overstep, they're going to be in a great scenario. However, Redline could be a problem with Ivus being where he is. There's still a little bit of danger to this one. He's just off on enough of an angle that could make problems for Iroh and Miraku. However, they're focused on Tornado Energy. Now with them gone, Fex can focus on the revive, but you've got to be careful. You do not control that compound anymore, and you've not had vision on it for a while. The Pink Ponies technically could creep their way in. They could just slither in towards one of those buildings, but for now they don't. They hold back on their position. They don't know what we know. But now Tixu knows there's a lot more problems coming their way, and it's from the east, from the south specifically. The SKS, not bad work from him there, making it work as best he can. Him taking over and Ents taking over the 2-2 split that was happening for TSM. Speaking of, here comes those Pink Ponies. You've got Goya getting right up towards the compound now. So they have to fall away from this, leave Redline to bring themselves back together and deal with the fight that's on their doorstep.
And that's kind of why they want this one to be quick, so they can just remove them and then face the problem in front of them, or the task in hand, which will be Redline being able to basically just set up an enforcement around them. They'll get so much vision by doing so that they can just wait for the arrival. This was the kills from earlier on with the Sauna Boys going out. Ents, remember, are still in this, and they're heading towards more deeper than what anyone else can get, to be fair. It's a bit sketchy, given Northern Lights' position. Maybe they hadn't noted it in full force and full form. Smoke's up on either side, and now a big old fight will begin against the Northern Lights and potentially Shift W. Shift W with the basically last compound inside of this circle, and one that will allow them to gather vision. With the buildings, they'll be able to get up on top if they have the scopes. This could be Ents in a very sticky situation, but it's who does Shift W go after first? That's the bigger question. They have both Ents and the Northern Lights potentially in their sightlines.
Yeah, and DA's just turned up towards the foot of the hill with Redline, so many fights on so many fronts about to happen. Metralius, Mert, and Smash made it through. They did lose one on the way. Code Marco not joining them. And to Redline, keep in mind, Redline were the ones, and Nayup specifically, that pushed them early on, and I love this deeper swing they're going on. They have to silhouette the players on the other side, making it so easy to beat on like Mert, but Smash quickly trading, and Mert is keeping these guys in some of these fights, but it is just just Smash now standing, or proning, should I say, as the revive's going to be tricky. Not sure how open he is to these 2 standing players for Redline. The nades could have been deadly. Nailup, though, turns attention as TSM. They're on the push. They want to press the issue. While the iron's hot, they want to strike. And you can see QBE turning his attention, going, I might just need to go on a points grab. I don't know if we can survive this.
He's going to stick the res out. It is a bit sketchy. The smokes are there, so provide some level of cover. Spyro and Lou have just fallen? Well, that's rather unexpected from distance as well. That's going to cause Northern Lights all kinds of problems and allow Braxco maybe to overstep the boundary, but we're here with QBE. He knows where these players have still been lingering. The rest came through, so they're all even Stevens with 2 players alive each. Ooh. The spray down trade is there, and Ivus comes in with the savior nade. TSM, well, they got a little bit cautious. They held back. They held their triggers for now. But now they realize that, you know, this fight's halfway done. Maybe it's time to put the utility to good use and seal this with a kiss.
Yeah, TSM are in the prime position here. You can still see those smokes. They have decent armor, helmets, everything you need, really, and they have the prime position, of course, with the high ground and the compound under their control. Everyone else is the peasants merely running around their kingdom at the moment. Most of them battered and bruised by the time they'll get towards the just steps of the hillside. Zoka, Braxico, Kilyakai doing wonderfully, but look at what they've got to work with. You've got Ents with a rock. Congratulations, guys. Perfectix without his life. He's going to lose out. I don't know how much Ents can survive here. One nade would do so much work, but Ivus decides not to shoot on this. Now, keep in mind, they have been in so many fights here. So maybe not wanting the attention, but this is shooting fish in a barrel, or fins in a barrel, potentially. 3 dead. Gone. Fex claims one, Braxico nabs another. But TSM on the move, again, they're being proactive, leaving Fex as their rotation point. Keep him on one side, a 3-pack moves towards the other side, and we ensure that information will constantly stay relevant.
They will know that Gurry is still lurking somewhere, mainly because the Pink Ponies got involved with the Northern Lights earlier on. Yeah, there you go, job done. They hunt him down, they find it, and more importantly, they solidify a good 60% of the map for themselves. Ivor's still holding on, although it is a bit sketchy. Does have 3 first aids, 2 after this one, so at least he can keep going for now. Miraku's just picked himself an AWM. That's at this stage in the game, 6 times silenced. That's a very scary prospect. I wanna see some damage out of this thing.
And Joe, credit to Redline for keeping themselves in this game. They have been incredibly proactive. 8 kills probably doesn't even highlight the amount of fights they've been through, but they've been doing well. But it is going to be feeling like a matter of time for them. Broken, bruised, the gear's gone, the vests are shredded. They're down to the last bits and pieces and down to the last player. QBE desperate to try and do anything. If he can get a flush, perfect. If he can be the, you know, just living in the shadow of TSM as maybe they get the knock and he gets the flush, perfect. But Braxico gets curious and gets 2 bullets for it. So back towards his piece of cover. And for Kilyakai, this becomes a problem. He is not in the new circle, but Fex gets spotted, so a couple of bullets put through, some suppressing fire to keep them back slightly. Shift W still trying to keep this one up in the air slightly. You've got to feel the favor is drastically with TSM. Ooh, QBE. A little too thick for his own good. Oh, the headshot as well. Yeah, he's in danger now. Iroh might even get some vision on that. I don't know if the hillside would allow, but Kilyakai's getting hungry. He wants these points. Look at that vest. Look at that helmet. Nothing going on.
Realize the free position has come into play. Does have 1 nade if he wants to have a go for it for the tree, but it means pulling himself out of cover, so he might not want to challenge it full body at the moment and throw it at it. TSM still clearly making note of his position on the side of the tree, and with the smokes as well, it makes it all that much harder to try and find him. Fex is just shooting through the smoke and ironically just doing damage, so it is what it is. Random nade comes out, finds the target, and he absolutely nails it. What a shot from QB, just to ink out of the tree and nab him in the head. That is phenomenal work, and then follows up with a nade as well. That's sick.
It's so well done. QBE has been a nuisance. Redline has been resilient, I think is the best way to put it. And they've set up, yes, TSM for success here against the 2 that now stand. Zoka and who is it with him? Braxico, the classic. Trying to do anything, but Vard already moved forward. They've been proactive in the perfect timing. They found that balance to maintain cover from further away. Braxico gets peppered down. 8 HP is all he's got to work with. You can see on the faces, they know what's about to happen. Zoka low as well. Shift W desperate for any of this to work out. Braxico again lower, just filtering through this, and as it happens, you see the net being thrown around and the, you know, the closing call here. TSM have played a wonderful game, playing the positions perfectly, not overstepping, not making mistakes. This looks like a TSM that means business. Zoka tries to make a play and it's not going to happen. There it is. TSM with a close down and a wonderful victory. 11 kills, poised and well played towards the very end there.
Yeah, coming into this in 7th position, I think it's, you want to be rounding for these upper echelon teams, we will call them, the ones that are known, the fan favorites, the ones that have won these events in previous. You want to be up there in your top 4, your top 5, at least when you're rounding off weekend number 1. So sealing it with a win for TSM, that's good. They haven't got one thus far this week. I mean, they've got this weekend 2 third positions, so it's not been too bad, and still down in 7th. It's okay. It's not that top 5, which we reminiscently think, you know, TSM should be at. The ones for me that need to have a much better weekend when we look towards it next weekend, it's FaZe. Coming into this as 11th, don't get me wrong, I don't know where they will be once this map is done overall, but certainly a sub-10th position to be ending weekend number 1 of the Grand Finals, it's not great.
No, I'm with you. There's a couple of names that are certainly missing from that leaderboard, and I'm sure to clarify all of that, to kind of break down where we currently stand and what we could maybe expect going into the next weekend, will be the guys on the desk. So take us through it, boys.
Aha! Back, yes. TSM getting themselves a very nice and handy victory here on Erangel to round things out after 2 back-to-back good games here, really, for TSM. I've got Avenger, I've got Frost, I've got Shrimsy. We're going to talk about this game. Avenger, so far so good for the TSM recovery.
Yeah, they're back at it, and I really loved how they're able to, you know, maneuver around this compound and how much space they both took and were given as well, considering all this. Also, kills very nicely spread out as well. We were considering, you know, leaving a guy behind the compound, leaving a guy, making sure that didn't get backfilled. Overall, I just liked how they approached the very late game, making sure that they stayed 4 guys alive for as long as possible. They didn't want to risk, you know, losing one guy, being too greedy, maybe to secure one more point for that one.
Every single Besto reaction has been solid gold. I need more of it every day, all day. But Froz, what do you make of the game? Unfortunate for Fuzzface there with the molly. Hard to deal with. He couldn't believe it.
I think Redline played really well there, coming in towards the late game. They were kind of on the west side, pretty stuck there with a lot of teams, but they managed to hold out against all of them. Pushing down towards DA as well, taking them out straight after they were fighting against Na'Vi there. They knew exactly when to strike, when to hit them, when they were already hurt, and then also hold out against TSM. Of course, TSM did get 2 knocks on Redline, but backed off to get into a better position, and Redline got everybody out because of that. But it didn't go much further than that, but them getting a 3rd place and with 9 kills, that's really good for this one for them.
Look at Fex putting work in. Shrimsy, obviously TSM, they had a 2-2 split for a long time, consolidated up, and then were able to push over towards that west side. What did you think about TSM's play, the split into the pushes, into the win, effectively?
I thought TSM played a really great game. I thought their 2-2 split was really good. They had a lot of control early game, and they used it to their advantage. And then they swept and got a bunch of kills, and, I mean, it ended up working out really well for them, so I like it a lot.
Nice, nice. Here's our leaderboard. We got 21 points coming in for the big TSM up towards the top, but a little bit unexpectedly to me, Redline is able to take the 2nd place spot here with 9 big pointeroonies on the kills for the 14 overall. Shift W had a decent compound, and they were able to get 11 points off the back of that here, Martin. So far, so good for TSM in these 2 games. It's really going to propel them up the leaderboard nicely.
Yeah, it is indeed. 2,000 damage straight up as well. I was really surprised to see them sticking with the 2-2 split, like all the way into 5th phase. They were obviously ready once it popped and they started to get back into it so they could take the better compound. But it was a nice kind of greedy split for a very long time, so it was nice to see that they succeeded with that. Perfectus and Iroh and QBE, they share 1st place here with 4 kills each.
Iroh, the Dark Lord himself, doing well. Miraku also popping on up, and Smash once again. Frost, I feel like we are seeing Smash a lot in these kind of top leaders of the, and you know, if you'd have said that to me, I don't know, a year ago for DA, I would have called you a fool. But DA is just, they're a new breed of DA, and it's so good to watch.
I really like when they're trying to take these fights rather than what we saw in the previous game when they just dove to the middle. When they take these fights, we see them time after time after time, not just winning the fights, but also like getting a lot of new utilities to use further into the game, taking, having those for the next fight they can take instead. And that's kind of what we want to see from them. We want to see them keep on fighting. That's when they thrive. That's how they're getting stronger and stronger, because they have the power, and we see that. And I mean, the casters have talked about it earlier as well. We haven't seen that much from Code Marco yet, but once he blooms out a little bit more, maybe we'll see even more of them winning fights in the games.
Yeah, definitely. Well, without further ado, we do have TSM on the line. I think it's going to be Vard joining us here this time. Hello, Vard. How are you doing?
How's it going? I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, not too bad here, not too bad here. So we're going to go around. Everybody's going to get to ask a question or two. So first things first, Vard. Obviously, you guys had a very strong position in this game. What did you guys consider your biggest threats throughout this game when you were chilling in your 2-2, when you were sweeping? Which situations ended up being the scariest for you guys?
I think the scariest situation for us this game was if one of us just gets crashed because we held the 2-2 for so long. So yeah, I think that was about the scariest thing. And I guess the part where I got knocked later on by the 2 rocks.
All right, fair play. Martin?
Yeah, nice to see you here, Vard. Happy to have you on. I actually want to drill down a bit in the 2-2 split. Why did you guys decide to hold on for it for so long? Was it because you kind of felt that it could go both ways and you could kind of win from both compounds depending, or?
Yeah, we wasn't getting much pressure at all. Like there wasn't really that many people even peeking us or around us, so we felt like we could just hold it for as long as possible. And then when the zone finally shifted a bit more west, we decided to group.
Okay, Frost?
I just want a quick and easy one here. How's your finger doing?
You can see the nail there. It's still. So it's not great, but it's manageable. It's way better than it was.
Has it beforehand? I actually want to follow up on this then, I guess. Before, how painful was it to actually practice or play and stuff like that? Was it difficult? How was that working out?
After the first like couple days after I actually got it caught in the door, I couldn't put like any pressure on it at all. It was just I was in like a lot of pain for 2 days, and then I tried to play some publics on the 3rd day, and I could actually like play a little bit. And I was like, okay, I guess I can start scrimming again.
All right, okay. Final question from me: how did you get it caught in the door? What were you doing?
I was actually going to the dentist. I still have an appointment I need to go to, and I buzzed myself into the building, and then I pushed the door and somehow got it caught between like I guess the lock or something. And
oh no!
It was a very painful experience. I was sitting in the waiting room like dying. I was just like, I need to go home, guys. I can't be here.
Oh my!
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, Shrimsy.
Yeah.
So obviously you guys probably aren't extremely happy with like half your games, I would say. What do you guys think the problem was with those games compared to the games that you guys did well on?
I think sometimes we were just kind of sitting on the edge and like waiting, I guess, kind of praying to get like a good shift, especially in some of the Miramar games yesterday. We definitely could have made like more. We could have made more. What do you call it? Risky plays, I guess. We could have sent it towards the middle of the zone a bit more, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Vard. Do you have any shout-outs before we let you go for the night?
Oh, shout out to everyone that supports us. Shout out to TSM, obviously, and thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Vard. Go and enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Hard for Vards in chat, boys.
The hard for Vards in chat. That's right, Shrimsy. He gets it. He knows. Good to talk to Vard though here, as obviously TSM putting in a lot of work in these last couple of games to push themselves up the leaderboard. I'm sure that we'll eventually get to look at those overall standings, and here they are. Look at that, 8 places up here for TSM. So that's a big win for them today. However, still a little bit of catching up for us to do here when it comes to the overall leaderboard.
Sorry, what? I didn't hear that.
A little bit of catching up to do for us when it comes to the overall leaderboard.
Yeah, no, I mean, TSM has had a phenomenal day today. Yesterday, we saw them ending the day with 17 points. Coming in here after today now with 59. They got 42 points today. That's a big difference. Of course, they have a win under the belt now after the last game. But also, we saw the game before getting that 3rd place. And that's how they started out as well. We saw them in the first game getting that 3rd place with 8 kills. And yeah, they just got to keep that up. Hopefully, they take what Shrimpsy asked them. What was the big difference between the bad and the good games? Being a little bit more risky. If they start doing that next week, maybe we'll see them climbing a little bit more even on the leaderboard.
Yeah, maybe. Shrimsy, I was always going to give you a question, don't you worry. But looking at the leaderboards here, Shrimsy, anything jump out to you so far after our first weekend?
I mean, it would be crazy to say that we expected FaZe bottom 8, you know? Like,
right.
Seeing them down there is something that none of us expected for sure. We expect them to be top 3 after every week, but, you know, it's just the first 8 games, only a third of the way through, so I definitely expect them to come way up and possibly in top 3, if not even win. I mean, 40 points is a lot of points, but 16 games is a lot of games to play, you know, so I could see them easily coming back up to the top.
Absolutely. That's 2 big games, right? That difference, and then you're right back in it straight away. And Martin, when you look at FaZe in the last game, it's a rough time. They're rotating in, they're caught on the other side of a waterbed. It's very hard for them to form together a game plan, I suppose, from that position.
Right, and for me, it's hard to think, or I'm thinking about it, I'm like, their games today was actually better than they were yesterday, and I felt like they had a good. Maybe it's because they had a few good games where they got some kills there, but they had 2 very mediocre days today and yesterday. And as Shrimsy said, like, we're 1/3 of the way now. They can easily make it back here. They can have 2 good games and they'll be straight back at it, and they can compete for it. So nothing's done yet. It's just surprising to see them there, and obviously we expect them more. Also, Bystanders and Navi, they're having 18 and 14, 15 and 14 points each today. Also very surprising to me to see both of those teams down there. It's usually some of those teams that like if one of them have a bad day, the other team usually have a good day because they're edge. But they've been playing and meeting each other a few times, and the meta is kind of developing here. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to be seeing next week, because they have a lot of days to prepare and going into that.
Yeah, definitely so. And with that is it for today. One last question, Shrimsy. Are we going to get a back-to-back? Are you going to win America?
That's the plan. That's the plan for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. You're currently first place, right? So
yeah, we're like 30 points ahead, so we're feeling good.
Whew, gotta be feeling good. Well, best of luck in your future games. Doing very well so far. I hope we get a back-to-back here this year, or even a 2-time just in general. That's going to be fantastic. So thank you very much, Shrimsy, for joining us here today. Fantastic to have you on. And thank you very much, I suppose, Frozen Avenger. You're always kind of here. You're part of the furniture. But I like having you all the time. All right, that is it here for today for PCS3 EU. We are back on Saturday and Sunday. However, on Thursday and Friday, there's more PCS to come anyway. So tune in, all the PUBG in the world. We'll see you then for more PUBG action.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. Going with the gut, never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet, hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella love. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging, we going come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing little flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in. Welcome, my heart's so full, I'm devoting myself to the night. There's no motive, we're just listening, we're existing.